What is going on, everybody? Welcome back again to the Shadow Collective podcast. I am Darth Eldor, always here with my good friends, 80 Beads and Swampgrass. How's it going, guys?
Hi.
Hello. Going good over here.
Going great.
Great to hear.
How are you?
I am doing well. Got some big, massive news coming in over the past couple weeks, and a lot to talk about. So, I know the big question we're going to be asking is, have we finally seen the end of the Kathleen Kennedy era? Kind of interesting that we're coming to that. But before we get into that, I think there's a couple other things we want to talk about. But let's get into it.
Okay.
First thing I want to do before we even get into Star Wars is I do want to bring up something for a friend. I would call him a good friend to the podcast. We have a good friend named Horizon. He's a longtime Star Wars Galaxy Heroes streamer. Like I said, very good friend to the podcast, and over the past holiday, he ended up losing his father to pancreatic cancer, and he went by the name Sue Engineer. He was a great guy. He used to always be there for his son's streams, and used to sit there and watch with the rest of us and join in. It was always good to see him. And like I said, unfortunately, we lost him over the holiday period. But our good friend Horizon wanted to, basically every year, one of the things is him and his father used to always watch the NCAA tournament together. It was always one of the big things that they would do together. And so in honor of that, he wanted to run NCAA tournament pool. And he wants to run that in honor of his father. And he wanted to reach out to people, see if anybody would like to join in. There's a $20 entry fee, which you can go to you can either go to his stream and talk to him there to get everything, or there's information under our stream here on Twitch if you're watching it on Twitch. If you're watching it on anything else on YouTube, I'll have the information down in the comments. Wow, I'm kind of not talking well through this, but it's the thought is there. I know. Half of the money is going to go to the Luskarten Pancreatic Cancer Research Center. 40% of it will go to the first place winner. 10% will go to the runner-up. He also said during the tournament, during the podcast, jeez. During the tournament, he's gonna also run 2 streams throughout the entire first 2 days of the tournament, from beginning to end. Basically from the first game starting till when the last game ends that day. And he's going to be doing those also as charity streams for the same thing. And you could also join him there. He'll be watching the games all day, talking with everybody, taking donations for this cause as well. And I'm hoping that anybody here that joins in, thank you. We would appreciate any help you guys want to offer, and it's also a chance to win a little money on the side for yourself as well. So, that's really all I got to say on the issue. You could either, like I said, check underneath on Twitch here, or there is a QR code that's up on our screen right now. That's on the poster that you can actually scan as well. I did test it; it does work, and you can go right to it from there. So, I don't know if you guys had anything you want to say on the issue or not. I know I haven't really spoken well on it. It's not one of my better things when it comes to a cause like this. So.
I mean, it's a great cause, right? Because if you want to get involved with it, I mean, I don't know much about the research for it, but any chance to get donations for a especially for cancer research and stuff. I mean, and you get to join a pool if you like the basketball stuff. Get in there, help out the cause. It's, and join them on the 20th and the. I mean, obviously, you guys don't have to stay there the full day. It's a long day of hanging out and whatnot. But if you have nothing to do, pop on in, say hello, and just show some support.
Okay.
Yeah, it's always sports gambling is fun, but it's a lot more fun when it's in for a good cause, and it goes towards making other people's lives better potentially. So yeah, it's a little fun, and you're also doing a good thing. So get on in there, guys.
As you guys can all tell, this is our first time advertising some research stuff, so we'll get better at it as other things come up if we need to do it. But we're
Yeah, I think it's the best way we could put it at this point. I mean,
we're came from the heart, really. I don't know.
I feel like it did.
Yeah, Eldor knows a lot more about it than I do. So
I mean, absolutely.
Really,
yeah. If you want more information, I would
know that it's a good cause. And
yeah, I mean, if you wanted more information, obviously, the best person to ask would be to ask Horizon, right, in his streams, and he's pretty much on Twitch almost every night. So, and if you have a chance, stop into his streams.
Yeah, and if you ever do want to catch his streams, his handle is the Horizon 1100. Like I said, he's around usually during the week. If you ever do have any questions, I'm sure he'll be glad to answer those for you. I'm basically telling you as much as I know. I never personally met his father, but like I said, I have talked to him on Twitch a couple of times, and he was a very nice gentleman. And it's a shame to see him gone. So, especially to something like this. So, any help that can be done, I'm sure Horizon will appreciate it, will appreciate it, and yeah, that's all I really got.
And obviously, our condolences to you and your family as well. I had no idea that it happened, so when I saw that, I was like, okay, I need to. We need to do something on our end just to help promote it. So,
yes, condolences to you and your family, Horizon, if you're listening to this.
We'll definitely talk to you. I'm sure I'll definitely be stopping in to see you on those days during the tournament anyway. So we'll definitely have some fun. All right. That being said, why don't we jump into some Star Wars news, and get right into the big one.
The big Kathleen Kennedy stuff.
Yeah. This one's kind of like a multi-threaded story, so we're gonna have some real fun with this. But the first story that we're gonna have of the day is going to come straight out of the Hollywood Reporter, which was reported on February 24th, which was a story that I'm pretty sure came as a shock to us all, because I don't think any of us saw it coming on that day.
Nope.
But basically, it reads, Lucasfilm boss Kathleen Kennedy expected to retire this year. And there's been a lot that's come out since, but we're going to go through the very first story, and we're going to try to unwrap this onion as we go. But this story says,
before we get into it, though, I just wanted to say I thought we did hear at some point that, like, because her contract is coming to an end sometime in the near future, that there was other rumors. I think it was last year or something like that as well.
Yeah, there were a lot of rumors. Go ahead.
I'm pretty sure her contract's done this year. That's why all this is starting to come up. I think something possibly
So, yeah,
came
a bit
out.
of a surprise, but also we kind of to some
I mean,
degree.
I mean, she's not getting any younger too, right? So like, you figure that it's gonna come to an end at some point. Like, but I mean, yeah, it was a shocker when you see this title of an article and you're like, oh my gosh, is it actually happening?
Yeah, I mean, the big thing about it is I think every time her contract, so to speak, has been up, we've had these kind of talks, but this is the first time that we've actually gotten any kind of confirmation from anyone, especially Kathleen Kennedy herself. So that's kind of what's made this news especially big.
Right.
But getting into it, let's get into the story here. It says, after more than a decade in a galaxy far, far away, Kathleen Kennedy is charting a course towards retirement. The Lucasfilm boss has told associates she plans to retire by the end of 2025. A source confirms to The Hollywood Reporter. It looks like it says it was first reported by Puck News this past Monday night. It says here, reps for Kennedy and Lucasfilm were not immediately available for comment. Kennedy joined Lucasfilm in 2012 as co-chair alongside Star Wars creator George Lucas, and a few months later took the reins after Disney paid $4 billion for the company and Lucas exited. She relaunched the franchise beginning with J.J. Abrams' Star Wars Force Awakens in 2015, which grossed more than $2 billion globally and reinvigorated the property as a big screen brand. Disney released a Star Wars film every year from 2015 to 2019, and then took a pause following Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, which received a mixed response and earned just half of what The Force Awakens had brought in just a few years earlier. As Lucasfilm boss, Kennedy held one of the most visible and scrutinized jobs in Hollywood, and it was not always smooth sailing. Say that again.
That's right.
She fired Chris Lord and Phil Miller as directors of Solo: A Star Wars Story in the middle of production. That film went on to be the first Star Wars movie to lose money theatrically. The film went on to be she also sidelined Rogue One: A Star Wars Story. Director Gareth Edwards, replacing him with Tony Gilroy, who was brought on to oversee reshoots. The film became a $1 billion hit. Other projects that were promised that never materialized, such as Ryan Johnson's trilogy and another one overseen by Game of Thrones showrunners D.B. Benioff and David Weiss. Daisy Ridley's upcoming return to Star Wars has been languishing in development since being announced to fanfare almost 2 years ago. But even as Star Wars struggled to return to the big screen, the franchise found newfound life on Disney Plus, with The Mandalorian launching in November 2019 along with the streaming service. It became a breakout hit, spawning multiple spin-offs, including the critically acclaimed Andor, which begins for a second season in April, as well as multiple shows that failed to hit the zeitgeist and sparked worries of diluting the Star Wars brand. Let me see here. Coming up, Lucasfilm has The Mandalorian Grogu from director Jon Favreau due out May 22nd, 2026, as the first big screen outing for the franchise since The Rise of Skywalker. Kennedy's storied career includes work with Steven Spielberg and husband Frank Marshall, with collaborations including Raiders of the Lost Ark, E.T., Gremlins, The Color Purple, The Goonies, Empire of the Sun, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and the Back to the Future trilogy, and the Indiana Jones films, which concluded with last year's Dial of Destiny. In all, she has produced or executive produced more than 70 films and been nominated for 8 Oscars. The news comes ahead of April's Star Wars celebration in Tokyo, where the future of the Star Wars franchise is expected to be unveiled. Thoughts before we move on to the next story involving her?
Hey, Andy, was Eldor cutting out there a bit? Or
Yeah,
was
you were
that
cutting out a little, man.
Ryan?
Was I? Oh,
Yeah.
that's not good.
There was 2 points. So the first point was just when you were listing the movies, and the only thing that was missed was Empire of the Sun and Framed Roger Rabbit. And then right at the end, kind of as you started talking the 70 film she has produced or executive produced more than 70 films and been nominated for 8 Oscars. News comes ahead of April's Star Wars celebration in Tokyo, where the future Star Wars franchise is expected to be unveiled. So that was the part that was.
Sorry about that. Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Can hear you now. You just cut out like a robot almost, so like and then
Sorry about that.
There's a little bit of a sci-fi sound effect.
Yeah. We're adding sound effects there, guys. Don't worry about it.
Robotech over here. It's, we're modding our vocals.
Eldor's testing out a new voice mod. No worries.
Yes, that's it. A new voice mod. Correct.
Soon he'll be fluent in 75 dialects.
75, yeah.
I'm working my way to C-3PO. One of these days, I'll hit a million forms of communication. So, like I was saying, you guys have any thoughts on this before we move on to the next one, or
I think we should just
keep
do
going?
it all together and then come back and talk about it. Because I mean, this one it tells that she's retiring, and then the next one she says that she's not retiring, and then so we might as well just.
Yeah, it kind of I believe it explains in the next one something to do with this one as well too. So
Yeah.
for context, it does make sense. Yeah.
Okay, so the next story came on February 27th, which was about 2 days later. And this story came out of Deadline and basically screams, Kathleen Kennedy speaks on her Lucasfilm plans. She is not soon retiring, and the films that will keep her in Star Wars orbit for years to come. Yes. Okay, so it says here, I thought I had seen it all in trade journalism, but the piranha-like frenzy on Kathleen Kennedy and the successor speculation that followed Matt Baloney's Puck report that Disney was putting her out to pasture is a new one on me. Baloney, for years, has been beating on Kennedy like she owes him money. Wow, really?
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
And
usually when you see like really negative stuff about Kathleen Kennedy, the source is Puck report. So, yeah.
All right. So this week he reported that Kennedy was retiring. I recall he essentially did the same thing more than a year ago, and yet here she still is, producing the Mandalorian movie and prepping the Shawn Levy directed Star Wars film that Ryan Gosling is circling. More on that later, by the way. As well as numerous other film and streaming projects with A-list participants. Still, the trades followed with gusto, dishing speculative reporting on who might succeed Kennedy. The takeaway was chaos and that Kennedy was being pushed. The reality is different and far more orderly. According to insiders, Kennedy has been working on a succession plan for a couple years, eyeing candidates from within, in process with Bob Iger and Alan Bergman, that puts someone like Dave Filoni, who knows the universe inside out, in a strong position. I admire Baloney's hustle and ability to turn over hard ground, but his penchant for defining industry people like Kennedy in disparaging ways, well, I just don't understand that. I didn't appreciate it when Deadline founder Nikki Fink did it here, and it feels like the appetite for what is that word?
Schadenfreude.
Thank you.
Schadenfreude is
Schadenfreude.
I'm sorry, that's a new one for me.
Schadenfreude
is nowhere near as high now, given how this business is still trying to regain footing after the global pandemic, the year-long labor strikes, and most recently the devastating wildfires that ravaged Southern California. Kennedy would seem an unlikely target for ire in good times or bad. 13 years into her run steering Lucasfilm, she has done much with the challenge of trying to broaden George Lucas's Star Wars vision after Disney bought it from him for $4 billion in cash and stock in 2012. Before I go any further, obviously this guy is biased to the complete other side.
Yeah, we're getting both sides here. Right
so
now.
Just so you all know, this isn't. We're talking to two very biased people here. So
yeah, but Schadenfreude, just so you know, it's It's when people get pleasure from seeing other people's misfortune. That's what it is.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Oh, like when you see Tom Brady fail, kind of thing.
Fair enough.
Yes. Now we're going to be shouting Schadenfreude during football games. Schadenfreude! People are like, what?
What, you don't know?
You don't know?
You don't
It's the
know
new
the
thing,
infamous
man.
Schadenfreude?
Schadenfreude.
All right, let's get back to it. Kennedy arguably is the most successful female producer / executive in Hollywood history. She has produced more than 70 films and have collected 120 Oscar nominations and 25 wins, and she herself was awarded the honorary Oscar with the Irving G. Thalberg Memorial Award with 8 other Oscar nominations. Her resume is dotted with classics including Jurassic Park, The Sixth Sense, Indiana Jones franchise, E.T., Munich, Lincoln, The Color Purple, War of the Worlds, Poltergeist, Schindler's List, the Back to the Future franchise, and so many others. While it has always been a challenge to please the Star Wars faithful, and there have been some misfires, the 5 Star Wars films she has produced have grossed nearly $6 billion, with streaming series successes topped by The Mandalorian and Andor. I'm not going to even read the next paragraph because it's just basically him taking shots at the other guy. It's just not necessary to read it. But we'll get a little bit into this interview. Deadline asks Kathleen Kennedy, we've read all these speculative reports that you are out, that there's a frenzy for the next person who's going to take over Lucasfilm. What is the truth? Kennedy responds, the truth is, and I want to say just loud and clear, I am not retiring. I will never retire from movies. I will die making movies. That is the first thing that's important to say. I am not retiring. What's happening at Lucasfilm is I have been talking for quite some time with both Bob and Alan about what eventual succession might look like. We have an amazing bunch of people here, and we have every intention of making an announcement months or a year down the road. We are in lockstep as to what that's going to be, and I am continuing. I am producing the Mandalorian movie right now, and I'm also producing Shawn Levy's movie, which is after that. So I'm continuing to stay at Lucasfilm and looking very thoughtfully with Bob and Alan as to who's stepping in. So that is all underway, and we have every right to make that announcement when we want to make it. Let's see. Deadline then asks that you are looking within seems to give credence to what we've heard. That an exec like Chief Creative Officer Dave Filoni is in a good position as he works on Star Wars to write and direct. Kennedy responds, I can't say who it is because there's just an internal process that goes on inside a large corporation and a publicly held company as to how we go about making deals, finalizing decisions, and making announcements. There's nothing unusual about that, and we're in that process. Deadline then asks, this flurry of press coverage, it sounds like chaos. What's the reality? Kennedy responds, chaos? There has never been any chaos because we know exactly what the plan is. And we've been talking about it, as I said, nonstop for the last couple of years because for obvious reasons. I'm not going to be here forever. George asked me 13 years ago to step in, and now I'm looking at who's going to replace me. And as I said, we have a bench of people internally to handle the business, the creative side. The job has grown also since I stepped in. There was no streaming. There weren't a lot of things that we were involved in right now going on. So it has grown. Deadline then asks, how far down the road do you expect before a change gets made? And then you go off and produce these 2 big Star Wars things. Kennedy says, we'll probably make an announcement months or a year out. I have every intention of sticking around to help that person be successful. I'm already producing the Mandalorian movie, and Shawn Levy's is after that.
You want one of us to step in?
Please. I need to do something.
Yeah, I could tell you were fading a bit. I'm like, I could take in. All right. So after that deadline asks, I recall these same retirement predictions were rendered a while ago, and you re-upped, and here you are. What do you make of this fixation on your job status? She said, I truly don't know, and any discussion previously about me retiring or quitting, or any of those things, that's complete rumor mill, because through all these reports, I've just continued doing my job and continuing my contract, nothing unusual. It all has just been manufactured. Deadline then asked, the connotation is that you're being pushed aside, in need of being replaced, though that's not what I've heard. And she said, it's absolutely not the case. It could not be further from the truth. And everything that we do inside of Lucasfilms is in lockstep and in communication with Disney. We all know what's going on. The communication has been completely collaborative, as you would expect. This is a big piece of business for them, and they want to empower me to help them make that decision and that choice. I'm doing that. Deadline then asks, I'm placing some blame on Marvel's Kevin Feige because he had that magnificent streak of superhero hits and set an impossibly high bar, but now he's starting to take shrapnel. How daunting is it to run a company based on beloved and iconic IP? What has been the most challenging thing about running Lucasfilm when fans of the original trilogy measure everything against it and don't see the business need of broadening the franchise when Disney paid so much for it? It's what Amazon MGM will now go through as it expands the James Bond universe. Uh, Sorry, there's just stuff in between here. I just want to make sure I get the right part. uh, she said, it's something she thinks about all the time. It's fascinating to think about how you sustain a brand, especially Star Wars, which is just about to celebrate its 50th anniversary. And so to analyze and understand what was inspiring George when he created Star Wars, when he was still looking at Saturday matinees and Buck Rogers and Flash Gordon, and those are things of the past, and politically what he was reflecting in his stories. Because Star Wars has always had a kind of world building, and it reflects a certain amount of our society, the world. Needless to say, is changing by the second, and consequently, the audience has changed dramatically. How they consume things, we're seeing this reflected in the health of the movie business and what it really means for streaming and what are all these other platforms that may be on the horizon. You're trying to look forward, and at the same time, you're trying to create stories that feel familiar. So you're moving into the future, but you're maintaining a sense of familiarity. I think that's the hardest balance. Then Deadline asks, you've got a long resume of big movies. Comparing to that, how much tougher is the challenge of so much public scrutiny and the second guessing by the rabid fan base? Hey, I resent that. It's not uncommon to develop a project with big names who fall out when the visions don't align, but they get reported as a big implosion. What you just, she said, what you just said though is so interesting to me, Mike, because that is development. It doesn't matter if you're doing Star Wars or anything else. What's troubling and frustrating is that our development gets scrutinized, and I don't know any other production company where their development gets scrutinized like that. It's very hard for anything to happen within Star Wars without some aspect of it becoming public before you even want it to become public. So I guess managing the message in some way is also quite a challenge, because of course not every single thing we put in development we're going to make. That's not unusual. We want to make those things that we feel are the best. We want to make those things that, as time passes, feel relevant to what the audience is responding to. So there's a constant discussion around that. So yeah, that's a tricky one because a lot of the scrutiny around Star Wars and the negativity has been about development. Of course, we're going to develop lots of different things with an understanding that not everything gets made. Andy, you want to tag in?
Yep, of course. So Deadline says,
I'm a smoker.
okay, so Deadline says, I broke a piece last fall about Simon Kinberg making a deal to write and produce a Star Wars trilogy. How's that going? Kennedy says, we're absolutely rolling fast and furiously. That has gone exceptionally well, and he's literally going to script as we speak. We'll see something probably around June. Simon, if you remember, he did some work with us years ago with the animated show, which was a really wonderful collaborative experience. And he then got very, very busy with X-Men, and then recently became a again. And he segued. We all have English problems on this podcast, guys, or grammar reading problems. Into this, he segued into this space beautifully. We're really excited about where that's headed. Deadline says there are spin-offs, and then there is the core Star Wars story broken into trilogies. Is this a continuation of that? Kennedy says this is the next iteration, the new saga that moves us into the future. Deadline asks, and the one by Deadpool and Wolverine director Shawn Levy? Kennedy says that's also in the future. It's all post the first 9, so it's all post 9. Right. Shawn's is a standalone Star Wars story that'll take place post 9, maybe 5 or 6 years out. And Mandalorian really stands on its own because there we're dealing with a whole other era in the New Republic. We have other development going on in the same space as well. So that's the space that we're pretty much focused on right at the moment, because obviously with Mandalorian, we have a pretty good sense of where that's going. And with this, it's all pretty much new characters. We may bring some of the characters back from the sequel saga, but pretty much new characters. Deadline asks, how many different type projects do you have percolating that you feel confident will turn into something down the line? Kennedy says, to play it safe, I'd say 3 or 4 right at the moment. And a large part of it, Mike, is who is the talent we're attaching. And that's a challenge in and of itself these days, because people get really busy. So you find yourself having to wait with a lot of the top talent doing streaming and movies now. They're juggling schedules. And when you do Star Wars, you pretty much have to step into it and not have any other competing work going on. It's a good 2 or 3 years minimum commitment, and that's tough to get top talent to be able to carve out that kind of time. So that's part of the challenge as well. Deadline. We've still got that prequel with James Mangold, who's Oscar nominated for the Bob Dylan movie, Complete Unknown. Kennedy says, yep, he's working on the script right now. Simon's working on scripts right now. Shawn, we had been working with him already for about 1.5 years. These guys are available now. Jim, he got delayed a bit because of the Dylan movie and the award season. You have to accommodate top talent to a certain extent. And quality is so important. Quality is so important with what it is we're trying to do. I like to wait for people that I think are passionate and really good to step into Star Wars. Deadline. Any others that I've forgotten? Well, I keep waiting. Oh, so there's here's TW.
Here we go.
I keep waiting for Takai, and he is working with another writer now. He's so busy. I love him. I think if we ever do get a script from Takai, it's going to be fantastic. I already saw a first act that I loved, but tying him down, it's tricky.
Yeah, good luck. Good luck.
Yeah, believe that when I see it.
Thank you.
Sorry, I say that out loud.
I just got cake, guys.
Nice.
Delivery. Yeah. Anyway, okay, thanks. Deadline. I still remember seeing his Thor Ragnarok entering with low expectations, watching his exuberant vision and thinking, this is what you want when you go to a movie theater on a Saturday night. Kennedy says, it's so true. And that's exactly the tone we're always looking for with filmmakers who can pull that off. I'm not, especially with Takai stuff, but that's I think that's
I think
to is your own, right?
Yeah, I think especially people that are very engrossed in Marvel lore wouldn't have seconded that sentiment.
Yeah. But hey, if Kathleen thinks so, then we're all right. Okay, right. It's so true, and that's exactly. Oh, did I read this already? It's not like they're a dime a dozen. You're really trying to find the diamond in the rough, and he's one of them. Well, I mean, she nailed it on the point there. He's one of a kind, that's for sure.
He's in the rough. He's in the rough, all right. Did I say that out loud too? I'm sorry.
Yeah. So Deadline. So even when you hand the reins to a Lucasfilm protege, it sure sounds like you're going to be in that world for 8 to 10 years. Fair? Kennedy says, I don't know if I'm going to say that, but yeah, it's possible. Deadline, might you also go back to working with your husband, Frank Marshall, who's doing a documentary on Barbra Streisand, another on Fleetwood Mac? Kennedy says, he is truly something. I cannot keep pace most of the time with what he's doing. And then he just opened a play on Broadway, and he's finishing Jurassic World Rebirth. It makes me feel like I'm standing still. Deadline says, do you look forward to a point where the two of you can find a focus on collaborating on these projects that you've always cooked up together, whether it was at Amblin or elsewhere? Kennedy says, oh, sure. If something came along that the two of us, we loved coming back together and being able to work with Mangold on the indie movie, that was a real treat. And to be working with Steven, and as they say, getting the band back together, that was really fun. We had a blast. Any regrets? No, I mean, far from regrets. I've loved the challenge of stepping into space and literally space and being with Star Wars over 3 years. Oh, these years? 3, yeah. Taking on the challenges of expanding on Star Wars. I've loved working with Disney, and the company has been fantastic in its support of the IP. They've expanded things in ways I don't think George would have even imagined, and it's been such a learning experience. I've never been an executive before. I'm a filmmaker through and through. I've even approached the executive role as a filmmaker. I love working with filmmakers. That is my lifeblood. It's what I enjoy more than anything, and being able to do that inside of Star Wars has been really fun because we have people who step into Star Wars who are diehard fans, and we have people who step into Star Wars who never really knew the IP. And you look at someone like Tony Gilroy, he has done transformative, exceptional work. I've been working with Tony for more than a decade. I don't think Tony would have ever imagined he would have done that. That creative experience on Andor has been fantastic. And second season is coming out next month. That's where the satisfaction comes for me, and I hope that that continues. We're almost done, guys.
Am I the only thing in 80's cutting out a little bit?
What's that?
It seems like you're starting to cut out a little bit too.
Now I'm cutting out.
You were a little bit.
Yeah, I
right.
think so. A little bit.
A little bit. All right, hold on. Maybe am I like am I like clipping out, or is like
You were kind of clipping out a little. Yeah.
Yeah, like where just little bits of what you were saying was missing.
audio issues? Fun. Okay, we're almost done here. There's like 3 more lines, 4 more.
Yeah.
Almost. Deadline. Will you arm twist Tony into doing one of these Star Wars movies after he was the uncredited backstop on Rogue One? Kennedy says, I don't know if I can. I don't think he ever believed he'd be a decade into Star Wars. He's writing some things on his own, and I think he'd like to get back into the director's chair. So we'll see what he does, but he's such a talent, just fantastic. Deadline. He also provided the creative spin for the Bourne Identity. Kennedy says that's how we all met. The band. Deadline. 2 final questions. Will you step out as Lucasfilm boss this year? Kennedy, we really don't know at this stage. There's so much going on, Mike. I don't know. When it happens, who will make the decision? Me, it's my decision. This is 100% my decision.
Or where the highway. That's right.
Like is when she says that, is she saying that it's her decision when she's stepping down, or is it her decision on who she's going to be appointing as her next?
Yeah, she's saying it's her decision when she will step down.
Yeah. Honestly, I think at the end of the day, the decision of who's coming in next is not going to be ultimately hers.
No,
she'll have input on it probably, but at the end of the day, I don't think she'll make that decision. In fact, I don't even see Iger making that decision because I think Iger will be gone by then. So, because I mean,
is his contract up too? Like,
well, he was never supposed to come back as it was.
Yeah.
I mean, you figure when Chapek failed, that's when Iger came back to help them through the storm, so to speak. But I mean, he's supposed to be off into retired life right now, so I'm sure he wants to get back to that at some point if he could help it.
Yeah.
But I know but yeah, I think that's also coming up very soon, and you gotta figure Disney's getting old, so to speak. I mean, it's time to bring in the next generation of people to move them forward. So yeah.
Yeah, and like I think the mobs with the pitchforks are gonna have an influence on when she steps down, based on what we've seen over the last few weeks, guys. So, yeah.
I mean, for what it's worth,
I guess we'll see.
even for what it's worth, I mean, we should be getting an announcement. I think we're actually going to hear about this at Celebration.
I don't think so. I don't know. I don't think they would do that, to be honest.
Yeah, honestly, I don't necessarily.
I don't
like the intention is to put it to rest.
I don't necessarily mean she's walking out at Celebration, but I wouldn't be surprised if at Celebration we do find out who the next head of Lucasfilm is going to be, and she's going to be around to help that person acclimate and get into the position, so to speak.
Yeah,
that would not surprise me.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me, but I don't feel like they'll do it there. Like it would just give the fans, like the fans with the pitchforks and the mob mentality to like something to celebrate more. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I know it'd be a celebration, but I don't know if.
Yeah, if they had people like publicly like celebrating that she said that and like essentially trying to humiliate her. I feel like that would be some bad PR.
I mean, the only thing I could
And
think
then-
outside of that is I just don't know if they're doing Celebration next year. I mean, it would be smart of them to do Celebration next year, considering.
What do you mean for next, like 2026?
Yeah,
I think they're only they said that they're going to be doing every 2 years again.
which I think is actually foolish at the end of the day, because I mean, you actually have you're moving back into the movie sphere. Why would you pass that up? But
Yeah,
there's
but
so much
I think
more
it was
going on.
it was
right
every 2
now
years
than-
before though.
Yeah, but there's more going on now than there was back when it was 2 years, isn't there?
I mean, the only thing I would think is if that was the way they were going to do it, I would have passed up this year.
Yeah.
But that's just me. But yeah, I don't know. As far as Kathleen Kennedy, though, how do I put it best? You guys want to say anything about it? Because I think I got to collect my words for a couple seconds there.
Yeah, I don't know. It does kind of seem like the whole sort of confirmation report that we got from Puck was kind of just maybe a little misinformed based on what she was saying, and yeah, it's hard to really take anything from that, I think.
Well, the Puck one obviously is clickbait. Like that's just something like I think
Like,
she
that
had
was
said
where
that.
the original thing came from too, right? That first one that
Well,
we
that
seen.
yeah, there was that one, but then like in that interview, she had said that, or somebody had, I don't know if it was her, but whoever was doing the article had said something about it, that he had done this like last year too. Like he had come out
Yeah.
and said that she was retiring,
Yeah.
and she still is not. So I just feel it was like I don't know, maybe this person has like a hate on her or something, like just wants to
Yeah, I
start
think
something.
It kind of seems like Joe Exotic with oh, what's that lady's name?
Joe Exotic.
Yeah, you know, the Tiger King?
Oh, the Tiger King. Okay.
He like was constantly dealing with that lady.
I don't know.
I don't either.
I
I
don't know,
didn't
man.
bother to follow
Carol
it.
Baskin. Carol Baskin. So like Joe Exotic and Carol Baskin, they were like always at each other's throat. It kind of seems like that kind of a
Oh, okay.
drama situation.
I think the only difference I see between this guy saying this stuff last year and him saying it now is last year Kathleen Kennedy didn't even give this time of day. This year she's coming out and acknowledging it, which tells me there might be a little bit more to it than just this guy's just spewing it out in hatred.
Well, and she says that there is there is more to it, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, maybe not by the end of the year, but you're starting to see the plan is in place. You got to remember this woman is 72 years old. She's not getting any younger. And yeah, she wants to keep doing movies until the day she dies. I understand. It's what you love to do.
Yeah.
And even though I still think she is a terrible executive, because she even said it herself, I approach being an executive like I do being a filmmaker. And that was the problem. She didn't approach it as an executive. She approached it as a filmmaker.
Well, because she never knew how to be an executive. That's why.
Right. But at the end of the day, it showed. And that's the problem. That being said, as a filmmaker, I will never argue a thing about the woman. I mean, we just read the list of movies that she's been in, that she's had involvement in: The Goonies, The Gremlins, Back to the Future, Indiana Jones, The Color Purple, Schindler's List. These are all
Back to the Future,
top tier movies that will go down as some of the greatest movies ever made. I mean, of course, I'm never going to say anything bad about her as a producer and filmmaker. But as an executive, she left a lot to be desired. And I think it's, how do you put it best? Michael Jordan was the greatest basketball player of all time. He was also one of the worst owners of all time because you can't take the player approach to being an owner. Same thing happened with Derek Jeter. Will go down as one of the greatest baseball players to ever play the game. He was a pretty crappy partial owner for the couple of years he was an owner. There's a lot of players who became head coaches. Great players. Pete Rose, for example, one of the greatest baseball players of all time. He was not a good coach. So just because you're great at one thing doesn't mean you're going to be great at another. And we learned that with Kathleen Kennedy. I think they do need to get somebody who has the executive business running side of this down, because you do have people in place that can be good creative. I mean, like they said, Filoni knows Star Wars inside out. Favreau's doing a fabulous job on the creative side. Does that necessarily mean we should move them in as the executive in charge? No.
Absolutely not. Nope.
But it doesn't mean that they should not be there doing what they're currently doing. So maybe it's just time.
I think that the next person that comes into the role, it definitely can't be picked by her, because she's just going to put somebody in there that
thinks like her.
That thinks like her, right? Like move up somebody else from underneath, somebody who's been kind of mentoring, or like she's been mentoring or something. Like, we don't need something like that.
Let's just say it. We don't need somebody with purple and pink and blue hair, okay?
Yeah. Yeah, we don't.
No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking, guys. Their hair color doesn't matter.
Yeah, hair color doesn't matter. Just to be square.
Unless it's polka dotted, in which case, what are you doing with your life?
Yeah. Why are you here? Why are you here?
I'm just joking too.
So also, I don't feel like it should be Filoni or Favreau. Basically, because I mean, it'd be kind of the same thing like we were just been talking about. You take somebody who's good at their jobs, good at what they're doing, and then put them in a president sort of executive role, and maybe they will do good, right? But I think if you take those two out of their positions now, and even have Filoni, like Filoni's position right now, I don't feel like he's doing probably as great of a job as we all thought he would probably be doing in his executive creative role or whatever he's doing. But Favreau's been doing wonders. Like he's doing what he's doing. That's what he does, right? And moving him out of that, I think, huge hole in where, because there's no way that he can run a show, be the president of Lucasfilm, and still do the stuff that he was doing. You know what I mean? So it was kind of the same thing what happened with Filoni. When they took Filoni out of his role, put him into this creative role, like his things that he was working on started to hurt, right? So
yeah,
I think,
and we've seen stuff slipping by, getting getting his approval that maybe shouldn't have.
Right, like his judgment, I feel, has not been the greatest with things. But I think the role should be, and I heard the rumors too. People were like, "Oh, let's get Kevin Feige in there." He's the MCU. That's his thing. He's not going to be able to do president of Lucasfilm, and no. So like the person that comes in it needs to be somebody who's fresh, kind of at it. Like it kind of. I heard it on another podcast. Like when Kevin Feige came in, he was just a producer. Like I think he was like a producer. That he wasn't even like a big, he'd done some stuff, right? But he was not well known, right? And he kind of, did what he did with MCU. So it kind of has to be somebody like Kevin Feige, where they, maybe he's somebody that's in Lucasfilm or whatnot, or in the Disney, umbrella or whatever it is, and then put them into the role, right? But that's my thought.
Yeah, the Disney umbrella is pretty vast, so
It's huge.
Definitely.
Like,
There's got to be
there's got to be somebody.
somebody out there that's great for the job.
Oh,
For sure.
I want to take that chance to segue into the last story that I had under Kathleen
seg
Kennedy. Yeah, seg you into that story.
Come on, guys.
I'm
Don't
just
make
joking.
fun of me. Come on. Not my fault. I only finished grade 10.
But
I got my grade 10.
Just teasing.
Absolutely. But the Hollywood Reporter had also released a story about who they think would be the short list going in if she left. So I'm really just going to go over the names. I'm not really going to sit here and read the whole thing. But as you said, you mentioned Favreau, and they obviously bring up his
credentials
as far as Star Wars so far, which are very good. I mean, none of us are going to argue what he's done for Star Wars so far. I think he's done a great job. I have no arguments with him. I'm looking forward to this movie that he's coming out with next year, and I hope it's good. But they said, the one thing they do put in here is, as noted, Kennedy's job is less about being creative than being a manager, and he won't want to be an executive, says one observer. So that's something to keep in mind. So Favreau's probably not going to take the job.
As a creative mind, he's great for it, but maybe not the executive side.
The next person they put up there is Filoni. Obviously, the heir apparent to George. I think people have felt that way since before Disney took over. Very good writer. Obviously, 90% of the animated stuff from Star Wars came from him. We know it's good. We know this guy knows Star Wars better as well as anyone because he mentored under George himself. But the issues I have with Filoni now is there's a couple of things that he's let go as head of creative that worry me. But more importantly, I also feel like he's also stuck to the story of Ahsoka Tano now. Like, I feel like he's stuck to that. He's stuck to that Clone Wars mentality. And I don't know how I feel about him branching off into other things. It's like, I know he can tell. I know he can.
Unproven.
It's like the stories he's telling, I know he could tell well because he crafted most of these stories to begin with. But it was also building off of what George ultimately brought in to start. What are we going to do when it's time for him to start absolutely fresh and bring something in? Am I saying he's going to fail? No, I'm not trying to go so far as to say that this guy can't do it. I'm starting to become a little more worried about being the guy to run everything. So I just don't know that he's the one. I don't know how you... I know you said your piece on it, Andy.
I know something that I feel is we'll have a better feel of the creative direction of Star Wars in its current state once we see like Mangold's project. I think that's going to be really huge for kind of proving to us that they can like start from a fresh landscape and make something that's really good or bad. Like we'll see what that comes out as, and also this Mandalorian Grogu movie. Like we all know that the shows were great, but how is this going to translate to the big screen? I think those two things are going to be like kind of good indicators of the creative health of the IP going forward.
I think so. I partially agree with you, but as far as the Mandalorian Grogu movie, I still see that more as a Favreau thing, and Favreau's proven. So I'm not as worried about the Favreau side.
That's fair.
The only thing I worry about there is this going to be a movie, or are we just getting like a really extra long episode of The Mandalorian when the time comes?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm
come on,
episodes
I
with
can't be the only one
Is it
Mandalorian
thinking.
gonna feel like the show, or is it gonna be its own thing?
I mean, I can't be the only one that's thought it.
Hmm.
But as far as the Hollywood Reporter says on Filoni, the big thing is they're saying he's seen in the industry as being too far from a manager or a corporate boss type, in parentheses, which isn't an insult. But the one guy the source they were talking to said he's a great source of knowledge, but he's ultimately a TV guy. He'll be killed by all sides. And that's part of what worries me about Filoni. But yet, another source is saying that Filoni has already been called Disney's choice to succeed Kennedy, and that we're going to get that announcement in Celebration. That being said, I don't know that that's necessarily true. That one,
I just think it will be a mistake whether or not like they do that. I mean, it could be very like the truth. Like that could be the truth. They're gonna do it, but I mean, I really feel it's bad for the business to put him in power.
Yeah, as far as like corporate ladder, he probably is the closest to that position.
Yeah, like seniority, probably. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Like if they're gonna go by seniority, but I don't know, man. Like you're gonna start to see more cracks and openings for mistakes if you start pulling these guys out of their creative sort of umbrellas
and push them to
and
the
put them
business
into
side.
these corporate and put them on the business side. Like I don't know, man. I really feel like it's a bad idea, but you know, Disney makes all the good choices, so I don't know.
So
100%.
So the next option would be they're saying is basically have one of those two be
together.
that not so much both of them together as it is have them plus bring in somebody to be their co.
Oh, okay.
Which I don't think is a good idea either. I mean, you're still going to be forcing them away from what they do, and you're going to be basically putting. Well, like here it says they could opt to pair Favreau and Filoni together and offload some of the positions more mundane duties to their executives. Personally, I don't think it's a good idea to put either one in the position. I think it's even a worse idea to put them together in the position, knowing that both of them will probably not want to be in that position to be in the first place because they'd rather be on the creative side.
It is kind of saying like that one of them with somebody who knows nothing about the creative side, just the business side, doesn't know Coruscant from Corellia, like somebody who's just a numbers guy kind of thing, and the combination of those two things, I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't love that either.
No, I don't like it either.
So next option would have been Kevin Feige, which, I mean, if Kevin, on paper, it sounds wonderful. Feige has done obviously did an amazing job with the MCU for the first 10 years. I mean, let's face facts. First 10 years of the MCU were awesome.
Well, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But even now, he's got issues of his own with the MCU that he has to deal with. And I mean, he's got a movie that just came out that hasn't done as well as people were hoping. He's got a bunch of movies coming.
Of the year.
Yeah, I mean, he's come off
like they just won the award for worst movie of the year. So
I mean, he's also coming off a year when a lot of the shows that he had put out were not well received. I mean, the only real positive is people are saying, I guess, in the next couple of days, even the new Daredevil show's coming out, and there's heavy. Yeah, that's right. They're really talking good about that right now. Yeah, so
it looks good from the trailer or whatever.
Well, they were saying that people have seen the first couple episodes and they love it. Nice. They're saying it might even be the best series that's come out so far. So
excited, yeah.
Yeah, that says.
I thought the old Netflix ones were the best, so I could see it.
They're saying these are a complete continuation of that, and
Yeah.
on that level too. Not going to go any farther into that because we're a Star Wars show, but
Right.
but the main thing coming out of there is an insider said he's the only one that makes sense for the role, but he needs to focus on Marvel. I 100%
Right, yeah.
agree, and that's where
Exactly.
it should stay. He's great where he is. I'm not saying he would be bad for Star Wars because I've seen what he can do with an IP, but
Yeah.
he's got his own to worry about. Let him worry about what he's doing, and let's get somebody in here that's ready to do Star Wars, and I'm okay with that. You want to take him away from the MCU and put him in the Star Wars? We'll talk about that later, but I'm not thinking in that term right now. The next person on the list, holy God, I hope this never happens. But they're talking about J.J. Abrams. Jesus Christ, what are they? Why would you even put his name on the list? I'm sorry.
You see the line at the bottom, though? I don't see him coming back from that toxic cesspool.
What? Which one? Oh yeah, I see.
I'm sorry. But he made, in my opinion, quite possibly the worst thing to ever come out of Star Wars. I mean, the mess that you made to try to fix everything that got messed up in the sequel trilogy. Yeah, it's holy crap. No.
I mean, he started off well.
He did start off well. I'm not arguing it, but let's face that we're in a "what have you done for me lately" kind of world, and what he did lately was, no. I just can't see them even considering the thought. So I don't even know why he's on the list. So I'm just gonna stop there.
Yeah.
You guys want to talk?
He turned our beloved lightsabers into laser swords. Shame.
There it is. Next name on the list I don't really know. It says Emma Watts. It says Emma Watts is a respected executive who is the longtime president of production at 20th Century Fox, who, among other projects, they don't know how to write this. Who, among other projects, notched franchise experience by steering the widely ranging in quality X-Men movies, including launching Deadpool. James Cameron's Avatar was also made under her tenure. She had a brief stint as president of Paramount's Motion Picture Group, but has been sitting on the sidelines as a studio leader. Sitting on the sidelines since a studio leadership change in 2021, and she's waiting for a comeback. I don't know enough about her. I don't know.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I thought she sounded familiar, but I'm looking it up, and I don't think I know any of her work.
Well,
really.
like Emma, like when I saw Emma Watts, I was thinking more of like who's the Emma Watson? Maybe no, like who's
the actress?
Who's the girl that plays in Harry Potter? Is that
Emma Watson?
Is her name Emma as well? No,
Emma Watson. Hermione, you mean?
Is that her? Like Hermione, whatever her name is.
Yeah, what?
Yeah, no, definitely not the same person.
Yeah, okay, no, I know. I saw it. I was like, why they? But then, yeah, okay, I'm reading this. It's fine, but anyways, yeah.
I mean,
I don't know.
Yeah, she's Emma Watson, the actress. But yeah.
Okay,
I mean, what this tells me is, I don't know anything about it, but if I'm going off of what I just read in that paragraph, basically, she knows how to lead. She knows how to lead a studio. She knows the business side of things at least.
Right.
And she's been there for big launches. Avatar, X-Men, Deadpool. It means you probably have the chops to handle releasing a Star Wars movie.
I'm looking at a picture of her with pink hair right now, so for me, she's out of there.
And there it goes.
Hair color. Not gonna work. Not going to work.
She
I
did
mean-
it one time, she'll do it again. I'm telling you.
I mean, all I'll say is I can't put her at the top of my list because I just don't know her well enough, but I can't
Yeah.
argue with her being on the list since she obviously has experience in the role. So if they brought her in, sure, I'll give you a chance for a little while until you prove that you don't belong here. That's about all I got.
Fair. It's generous of you.
If it came down to her and J.J. Abrams, I think you know where I'm going. So,
Yeah.
and then the last name on this list says Hannah Minghella, if I'm even pronouncing that correctly.
Minghella.
Yeah. It says here, speaking of Bad Robot, Abrams' former employee. Anyway,
It's coming
Minghella.
from there.
Minghella is a name that surfaced as a possible contender on Tuesday. The exec has formidable experience across the live action and animation spheres, as well as family fare. She also had a long stint at Sony Pictures, where titles she worked on range from Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs and Hotel Transylvania to Jumanji and Goosebumps. She has been running Netflix's feature animation and live action family divisions since last summer, so she would have to extricate herself from a multi-year deal, which tells me she probably won't be around anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah. So on that list, I see one person that would be on my list.
If it was out of that list, it would be Emma Watts. But
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. And like these names, like who's to say these aren't even on their list of names that they've been, you know what I mean? Like these are just speculation.
Yeah, what's to say any of those people are interested in the job?
Well, exactly, but
Or
the
whatever.
only reason I brought it in is because it brought in the obvious names that we were thinking of. Filoni,
Right, right,
Favreau, Feige. Can we get somebody that doesn't have a last name that starts with F? Sure.
Yeah.
But anyway, just proving the point. Hey, we got to start finding somebody to replace her. I would say the clock's ticking at this point.
Yeah. I would.
I mean, we're not.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying she's going to be gone tomorrow. I'm not saying she's going to be gone next week. She may not be gone until halfway through 2026 after the Mandalorian's over, or maybe even the end of 2026. But the clock is ticking.
Like, I don't feel like she's going. I don't feel like she's leaving Lucasfilm. I think like her role as the president, yeah, that's coming to an end. But I feel like she's going to continue to produce on these Star Wars movies as they come out, I think.
Yeah, it sounds like that's what she figures, but ultimately, whoever she puts in charge, I think is going to have more of a say in that, whether or not they want.
I think
her
she's going to
be
make a
on those
deal.
projects.
I think she's
Yeah.
going to make a deal with them, saying that let me stay on as producers of films and for these Star Wars, and that's fine. Like she's proven to be a great producer and executive producer over her years of tenure, doing movies, which is fine.
I mean,
just
go ahead.
want to see somebody else that's president.
Yeah, and I think that's also another part of it, though. I mean, reading all this, I'm slowly starting to get the impression maybe she just doesn't want to do this anymore.
Well, maybe not.
I mean,
Maybe not. Like,
I think she's getting to that point where maybe. How do I put it? She went back to being a producer for Indiana Jones. It didn't do well, but obviously it's her wheelhouse. Maybe she went back to working on producing that movie and decided this is what I'd rather be doing instead of sitting here coming in and handling the business side of things, which maybe I just don't want to be bothered with that anymore.
well, she did say she is a filmmaker, right? She's that's her main things. I mean, she stepped in all those years back and did her thing. Now she's just, obviously we know she wasn't going to be there forever. And I'm not sure if there's a thing around, stating when her contract is done. I mean, I'm pretty sure we did hear that it was done by the end of this year, but
it's
I
I think somewhere.
Yeah. So I think that's the time. That's the time frame. Like that's the window.
But those are also
it is
things
getting
that can
short,
be renegotiated and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but I don't know if they would go into all of that just to renegotiate for one more year. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I don't think it would make sense. Like, I think
unless there was some of those ongoing projects that have been pushed back that they just really want her to be a part of or something like that, I could maybe see it in that kind of a situation.
But she could
then
stay
she
on
just
as
becomes
just
a
a producer. Yeah,
producer. Yeah, she wouldn't have to be president.
It's true.
Yeah.
I mean, just like they were talking about obviously the Mandalorian movie. Obviously, she seems like she's going to be very hands-on in the Shawn Levy movie. So,
Right.
I mean, I'm assuming just from that, yeah.
It's crazy how quickly that one went from like just her hearing about it to being pretty much the most solid thing that we're hearing about. The Shawn Levy one.
Well, they were saying, I mean, from what I know, they were saying all through last year, he actually just went to work on it. So that's.
Yeah, but that was like the first we had heard of it. Like before that, we had like 5-6 different movies floating around, and then it kind of just jumped in front of, a lot of stuff.
Yeah, because I think all the other ones were just bull crap.
Yeah.
Like they announced them and then they're like, oh, I don't think that's right. I don't know. Like all this Rey Skywalker stuff, I still don't think they should be doing it at all. Honestly, in my opinion.
Like the Levy one as well.
Well, I think.
Well, isn't the Shawn Levy one? Oh, maybe that one's. Is that one the Skywalker one?
His is also a Rey one, yeah.
Well, yeah, they're also talking that. Yeah, I think she was saying 5 to 8 years into the future of Rise of Skywalker. I think I read today. So,
yeah, well, I'm not excited about it, but
I think it's supposed to technically be setting up the supposed Kimber trilogy that's coming afterwards.
Yeah, and then how does that Charbade Chinoy thingy or whatever it's called, that director, how does that fit into the picture then if this other one just jumped in front of it and it's like, okay, here's 4 movies?
I think that one's just gonna be scrapped, to be honest with you.
Yeah, the amount of it's bounced around, it would make sense.
I think they felt like they made the wrong decision with her. Yeah.
But
yeah, sorry, something I wanted to mention when we were talking about that list of people is while we were doing that, I was reading about that Hannah Minghella, and I think I would pick her personally. It says that she's running the Netflix's feature animation department, and they've had some like really, really solid animation come out in the last few years. So if she had anything to do with that, I feel like she's my vote out of that group.
Personally, I think we're going to end up getting a name out of left field that everybody should say, who's this person?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. TW. This is what he's been doing all this time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Writing his thank you speech when he finally gets the presidency.
He's writing a movie about him becoming the president of the company.
Of the galaxy.
Of the galaxy. And this is how democracy died, with thunderous applause.
With thunderous applause.
I think the last thing I'll throw at you guys before we try to finally get off this topic is where do you think ideally, okay, let's just say you were picked as the person to come into Star Wars next. What direction do you think we should take?
Like for the president, is that what we're talking about?
If you were to come in and you had a chance to move,
as
move the Star Wars universe in a direction, where would you like to go? And
I think
and I also want to ask everybody who's watching that same question. So throw any kind of answers you have down in the comments below, or in the chats, or in the social medias, and maybe we'll talk about that more next time.
like for me, I think they should stop the bouncing around from eras and stuff. I think we should focus on one portion and that's it. You know what I mean? Like let's say like we're gonna do the James Mangold thing. Okay, so James Mangold, we're starting off the whole thing. Okay, let's do either a movie or a trilogy there, and then let's have like it's like kind of like what they kind of were starting to do with the Mandoverse, kind of like keeping it in that kind of like they're making movie, they have these TV shows that are based in that kind of era, and we're not bouncing around from era to era. Oh, that's my microphone. Hello. I'm getting all animated here. But yeah, I think that'd be the best. I think that would be the best move. Like, in my opinion, I don't know whether or not that's be the right decision, but I feel I don't think it's like it's not confusing. I mean, you can if they bounce around here and there, whatever it is, but I don't know. I feel just to get things back on track, let's start off outside of the Skywalker era. Let's start something new, something fresh, and then work from the beginning. You know what I mean? Like,
so you're saying let's go back to the Old Republic, or
let's go back to the yeah. I mean, let's go further before that. You know what I mean? Like, do the James Mangold stuff. That's what he wants to start everything off, right? Just
and then build.
Let's start there and let's build from there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so much. There's so much canvas there. Like there's so much open canvas you can do. You just gotta have people that can write good stuff. Bring people in that can write stuff. Bring in the authors that wrote all these friggin' books. Stop leaving them out of the process.
Yeah.
Bring them in.
They do take stuff from those, but it never seems like they're working directly with them.
Like why don't they ever ask them? Like the only ones they've ever asked is Timothy Zahn, and they should, because Thrawn is his character. You bring in these authors that have written fantastic novels over the years, and I think you'll see this Lucasfilm go in a new direction, go in a better direction, I think.
Well, the one thing I did see that actually gave me a little bit of hope was I don't know if you saw the video that I had posted in our.
Yes,
we have a for those that don't know, we have our own personal DM that we talk to each other and go over things, and before we decide to do these podcasts. But I put up a video, and the name of the woman, I believe, goes by Star Wars Meg. Well, I tend to watch her a little bit because I think she has a good handle on what's going on, and she doesn't try to really be biased in anything that she does. She tries to keep things down the middle, so it makes for a good watch. But she actually was able to get an interview with Michael A. Stackpole, who was the writer of the X-Wing series and actually wrote Rogue Squadron. And in her interview with him, we found out that Patty Jenkins is still working on Rogue Squadron. And not only is she working on it, she's actually been talking to Stackpole this whole time, trying to pull from him and get information from him. And not only that, he came out and said basically she wants to use the basis of the X-Wing novels, yes, which Andy is holding up at the moment, and wants to use that as the basis for her movie, even though it's going to be set in the post-sequel era time. So the fact that they're going back and she's trying to work with these people. Number one, I'm happy just to hear that there's still work on Rogue Squadron being done,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that's one of the movies I was excited for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the fact that she's working with the people who wrote this and trying to get it right gives me hope. So I really hope that that movie comes out. I really hope it goes into production. They even started setting the pieces in some of the Star Wars lore. I mean, we had little baby Cornhorn in Obi-Wan. I'm hoping that he's still around, and maybe we have a Cornhorn that could be in this Rogue Squadron, even if you have to age him up and he's older and now a mentor to the new Rogue Squadron that's getting ready to go out. Also, with Wedge coming back, Dennis Lawson coming back for Rise of Skywalker, you have an opening to bring in old General Antilles to sit there and also be a mentor for this group. You could make a great movie here, and I'm excited for it if it's still gonna happen.
Well, especially now since what's his name? Dennis. What's his name? Dennis.
Dennis Lawson.
So like lately, from what I've been hearing, like Dennis Lost, like he's been coming to the conventions. Came out at kind of like his, because he'd never gone to the stuff, those conventions and stuff. So like he seems to be more out and about. Maybe possibly, might like the idea of coming back as a mentor. That would be great, right? Like,
yeah.
But man, like just the fact that they're doing that with Rogue Squadron, like that, yeah, I agree. It gives you hope, because like there's a possibility that this ignites, if it works, ignites other writers and directors to be like, hey, that worked, let's bring in some more authors here from these books, man, because I mean it's a great idea. But it's not something new, because not just us, like other podcasts and other kind of Star Wars fans have been saying this for probably a long time. Bring in the authors that created all of this great literature over the past 30 years, 40, however long that Star Wars has been around, and bring them on board. Legends. The legend stuff, man, like bring them in. Like,
yeah, absolutely. So. I mean, they did it with Timothy Zahn. I mean, Zahn's been working on Thrawn's character since they brought Thrawn back. I mean,
yeah,
you brought one in. Why can't you bring in more?
But it's not like they're writing the stories for you. Like, just bring them in as as what are they called? Advisors. You know? Bring them in as an advisor. They don't have to be, they don't have to be credited with anything. Maybe they do. I don't know. Like, but
the point is, they created these characters, and nobody know. I mean, that's why they brought Zahn in the case of Thrawn. I'm going to keep using Thrawn as an example. Nobody understood Thrawn as well as he did, so it made sense to bring him in for your adaptation of the character.
I think Thrawn is the bar. Like, Thrawn is, you know what I mean? Like, that's Timothy Zahn is the bar right there, anyways. But yeah, no, I mean, I think it would just be a smart move, and whoever takes over, I think, should kind of watch us and kind of take this idea and use it.
Yeah.
We don't want any credit for it. Just use it. Come on. Just who cares? Don't care. Just bring them in.
To go back to your question about what we would do if we were president of the thing, like direction wise, for me, what I would be pushing is, you know how EA kind of lost exclusivity of their game IP, right? So what I would be pushing if I was them is sort of incentivizing companies to come up with a really great Star Wars game, because it's like, I feel like the fans are hungry for it. And as far as like shows and TV, I kind of like the direction of like the Obi-Wan Kenobi type thing, where we have mini series telling stories about a character that we know, that's like a story that we don't know about them. I would love to see more of that kind of stuff, as well as animation, and then of course, like, yeah, big screen. So yeah, that's my sort of quick answer there.
Okay. I mean, I think because I haven't answered it myself. I mean, I think animate on the animation side. I think Filoni's got that under control. Let him keep doing what he's doing. I mean, I like what he's doing with continuing the. There's still the rumor floating about us getting another clone show, something like the Clone Rebellion, and I think I would be interested in seeing that.
I think we
Yeah,
need
kind
that.
of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Continuing these tales of the Jedi, tales of the Sith, tales of the Empire. I mean, I think there's so many stories to tell.
Yeah.
So that's something they need to continue. They need to keep working with these Japanese companies and keep bringing out these Visions seasons, because I think those are excellent. And it's a great way to bring new people into Star Wars through different things that, I mean, it proves it doesn't have to be canon to be good. I would like to see, if anything on my side, I would like to see them actually delve into Legends maybe a little bit. And maybe come out and actually, they were so willing to come out with something called Solo, in air quotes, a Star Wars story. I would love to see them maybe go and cover. Maybe they go and they do, like, they're trying to work on something that would be Heir to the Empire, which would be the canon story right now. The way they're going to do it, which is what Filoni's end game is here with what he's doing with Ahsoka and everything in the Mandoverse. It'd be nice to see maybe them come out with maybe like an animated series that would be Heir to the Empire or something, and maybe make it as like, maybe you post something above it, Star Wars Legends, Heir to the Empire, or something like that. Just to prove that, okay, it's not canon, but we still acknowledge that these stories exist. And it'd be a fun way to pull some of the people back that you have so-called alienated along the way, without necessarily saying this is real, this is actual Star Wars canon. Maybe people will sit there and enjoy going to see those stories. But if I was going to take a true canon path, I would either do, like you said, go back to the Old Republic, because again, open canvas, so many things that can be done. You have 3 games that you could build off of that I think would tell great stories. Or it's time to go 100 years into the future of where Episode 9 ended, and that's where I would pick up instead of picking up where they're currently deciding to pick up with these Rey stories.
Yeah.
But I think that's where I would go if it was me. And just forget the Skywalker saga. Let's wrap it up.
Well, it's been beaten to a pulp, to be honest. Like either we start off the whole in the Old Republic, or like you said, let's go, I don't know, however many years into the future, get out of the Skywalker stuff, create new characters, bring people in, get some good writers to write some good character builds, and write good stories. Ultimately, that's all we want. All we want as Star Wars fans is great stories to be told, and that's it.
I mean, I think a great idea would be go 100 years into the future, take a good movie to establish a new group of people, whether it be a New Republic or whatever is ruling the galaxy now, maybe a rebuilt Jedi Order that's still small but growing, and then bring in the Yuuzhan Vong. And I mean, you would have a place to bring them in. It could be an interesting new set of stories to build up.
Right.
Just spitball. Nothing.
Yeah.
Obviously, it doesn't have to be done, but I think that kind of covers what I would do. But that being said, again, I'm going to ask the audience what they would do. Obviously, leave some comments. I mean, we always love feedback, so let's hear what you have to say. With that, I'm going to segue into the next story because we've really beaten this story down.
Yeah.
Well, you said that the Kathleen Kennedy one would take a while, so
Well, I mean, come on, it's a big story, though. It's not like,
and it is absolutely. That's why I wasn't worried about the amount of things we had. So
yeah. But that being said, we're going to move into our next story, which we're going to get back to Shawn Levy. And this actually came out like directly after our last podcast. So this is an old story, but
that's an old one, yeah.
But it's an important one. So we're going to get into the Out of the Hollywood Reporter. It's a Star Wars shocker. Ryan Gosling in talks to star in Shawn Levy's Star Wars movie. It says here, if the deal makes, this would send the project into hyperdrive after 2 years of development and make it the next Star Wars movie to go into production. Now, first thing I'll say is it's a month and a half later. Jeez. We've been gone a while. But we still have...
This was January 21st, I think it said.
Yeah.
Is that right?
But at this point, we still have no confirmation of Ryan Gosling taking on a Star Wars role, but we do have confirmation that Shawn Levy's movie has kind of hyperdrived into the front of the line of production, because even Kathleen Kennedy said in the interview that we were just talking about that it's next on the list after Mandalorian. So we'll see what happens. But to get into the story, it says, Ryan Gosling is headed to the great galaxy far, far away. The 3-time Oscar nominee is in negotiations to top-line the Star Wars feature project that will be directed by Deadpool and Wolverine filmmaker Shawn Levy. Details on any Star Wars project are harder to acquire than plans for an orbital planet killer, and this one is no exception. Levy has been developing his Star Wars feature since 2022, and Jonathan Tropper, who collaborated with Levy on films such as This Is Where I Leave You and The Adam Project, has been working on a script for over a year. Levy is also producing the feature with his 21 Laps banner. What I missed.
My kid in the next room.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah. Anyways, good job.
Let's see. He's also producing the feature via his 21 Laps banner, joining Star Wars stewards Kathleen Kennedy and Lucasfilm. It is unclear when Levy's project is set. Star Wars stories have run the gamut of hundreds of years, detailing the goings-on of a galactic republic turned dictatorship turned rebellion. It's also unclear if it concerns Jedis and their enemies, the Sith. It is, however, to be unconnected to the so-called Skywalker saga. The story centered on well-established and beloved characters Luke Skywalker and his father Anakin. On the other hand, we have learned since then this movie is going to probably be about 5 to 8 years after the Rise of Skywalker, and it's going to probably involve Rey. Moving on. It is meant to be a standalone movie, sources tell The Hollywood Reporter. Lucasfilm had no comment on any impending deal or the project's details. Sources say the Gosling development is a late-in-the-game move for Levy's movie schedule. The filmmaker was eyeing to direct a boy band movie set up at Paramount, which would have reunited him with Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. But Gosling's interest and involvement suddenly shifted the Star Wars project into hyperspace. If the deal makes, the project would continue to fly like the Millennium Falcon. Geez, they are really pulling out the puns for this one.
Yeah.
Becoming not only Levy's next movie, but also the next Star Wars movie to go into production, with cameras potentially rolling this fall. I'm gonna stop the story there because it's pretty much just more of the same. But
Yeah.
only thing I'm gonna throw in, this is an announcement we're probably going to get at Celebration. And I would be very shocked if it wasn't one of the first things announced at the very first, I would say, Friday?
Sorry, guys. How loud is that?
You can hear it.
Yeah, you can hear it.
Oh my gosh! All right.
We're having fun.
One thing I would say with Ryan Gosling is like I would love to see him as like a non-Jedi type role, maybe like a scoundrel or something. What do you guys think?
Yes,
I don't know how I feel about him being in Star Wars, to be honest.
Yeah,
I know I like him as an actor. Like like a lot of stuff that he's in, like do enjoy it. I don't know, man. Like it would just seem weird. I don't know. Maybe because he's like an A-list actor coming into Star Wars. You know what I mean? Like,
what about like Jack Black and Harrison Ford and
Harrison Ford's been in it though since the beginning. Like this is not.
But I mean, like
Star Wars is what
he was
made
an A-lister and stuff.
Yeah, but Star Wars made him an A-lister. I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah,
that's the difference.
Yeah. I mean, the Jack Black stuff I could care less. Like whatever. Like it was a
Star Wars role.
It was a blip on the map, in my opinion. Like, but I mean, if they're bringing in Gosling,
Jude Law's a A-lister.
I guess. I mean, he's had a good career. Yeah. I mean, he pulled it off. Like, I don't know. Like Gosling, he's a great actor. So I mean, it's possible he would do well. It just depends on how they write the character that he's going to play. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would really hope that he doesn't like be himself in it, so to speak.
I don't think he's ever himself. Well, I mean, in the comedy ones, I think, but
yeah,
like he's played some pretty, pretty dark roles. Like, so I mean, I don't know.
I don't argue his acting chops whatsoever.
Yeah,
I mean, like you said, I mean, he's a great actor, so that I'm not worried that he can't pull something off. I think I agree with you on the fact that also that it's going to depend on what he plays. There's certain things that they're going to ask him to do, and I'm going to say, oh no, this ain't going to work.
What if it was like Driving Angry, where it's just a movie with like no lines, just like dramatic
like
facial expressions and like speeder races and
he's coming on as the as those what are they? Those kids, the cyborg kids.
Oh, the mods, the
mods.
He's gonna be one of
the new mods.
One of the Vespas.
The Vespas. He's got a souped up Vespa.
He's got the
driving
Barbie.
Angry with a glove.
He's got the Barbie Vespa.
The Barbie. Oh my gosh.
Anyway, we're running it for everybody right now, aren't we?
I agree with Swamp. I would not want to see him as a Jedi or like I do not want to see him as a Force sensitive anything. Like he should be they should have something else, or he should be a scoundrel of something, you know what I mean? Something
I think
like
personally I just see a bounty hunter. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's what I see when I look at him.
Yeah. Just not a Jedi, please. Not a Jedi, please. Like I do not want to see Gosling.
Or have him as like one of the like really shady shop people, like a Watto kind of character.
No.
Yeah, but what they
he'd have a bigger role than that.
Like not Watto specifically, but you know what I mean. One of the like really cold-hearted, like you know.
They create like a movie kind of like what's the movie there, I forget his name, but it's like around a mini mart and like Clerks, so they make make like a Star Wars version of Clerks.
I'm not supposed to be here today. Oh man.
Anyways,
yeah,
but I don't know.
I think the only thing I could say is this: the one thing I will give him as far as going into a Star Wars movie, he was damn good in Blade Runner.
Absolutely. I love that
Oh yeah,
movie.
there's a lot of
and I
good
think
movies that good roles that he's done.
absolutely, but the thing is, Blade Runner's kind of science fiction-y,
Yeah, that's true.
and see that he was able to pull that role off there so well. It gives me hope that he could be good in a Star Wars movie.
So
but
you
yeah,
think he can pull off the Jedi thing? Is that where?
well, no. That's where it gets back to the idea of it depends on the role that he has.
Yeah.
Like I said, I that's why in my mind, first thing I popped to is like a bounty hunter. I think him as a bounty hunter would be amazing. Like somebody in the galaxy, like, okay, if Rey's in this movie, he's a bounty hunter going after her. Because he proved he could do something similar to that in Blade Runner. And I think he could pull it off well.
Yeah.
Yeah, or like Rey has her Jedi temple, and she's like training these people, and he's the guy who like rules the planet, and you know, and he's like collecting the rent. He's like, "Give me my rent. I'll give you half a portion." You know, stuff like that.
He's part of like the rebel movement that's on the planet or something, like trying to take over the space, but Rey doesn't want to give it up. This is for the Jedi Temple. This is my Jedi Academy.
I don't think I could see him as a like a political leader or anything like that either.
Yeah,
I think he's just too young at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's the only thing that pops in my head. Like a bounty hunter type role, maybe like a fighter pilot or something. But I just, it really is going to come down to what they pick for him.
Yeah.
And not knowing anything about this movie, we have no idea. Well, you know what? We're probably going to find out at Celebration because that's about. I mean, if you're going to make that announcement, that's where it's got to be made. Because, like they said,
well, if they're stating that this film could potentially start filming by the end of this year, then yeah, I think we have to bring something up at Star Wars Celebration.
Yeah, we got to bring something up, and I don't think he's the only one we're announcing at that point. You're going to have to tell me somebody else is in that movie. So
yeah,
like I said, this is that first day when they're making all the major announcements before they start getting into the details of it. That's when we're going to hear about this. That's when they're going to bring him out on stage. That's when, I mean, Hall H, so to speak. I mean, I don't know what it's called, what they're going to call it in Tokyo, but it's, yeah. I'd be excited to see what he's going to do.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I know he can do it. Just don't screw it up.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't thinking about Blade Runner when I kind of like you kind of put the Blade Runner thing in my head now, but it does come down to the proper writing of a character and the proper storytelling. So, I mean, we know Shawn Levy, Levy's got he's got the talent to do it, and wasn't Shawn Levy? He was part of the Stranger Things stuff too, right?
I don't know. I'd have to look that one up.
Shawn
sure,
Levy.
actually.
I'm pretty sure he was.
But I mean, the other thing I know that they mentioned that he was a part of, him and Tropper, who did the writing together, was the Adam Project, which was the other Ryan Reynolds
science fiction
movie.
One too, yeah.
And science fiction movie. It was actually I went in with low expectations, and I was actually very impressed with that movie at the end of the day. So
yeah, no, I agree with that. Yeah.
So it gives me hope for Shawn Levy potentially as a Star Wars writer, and the fact that he's one of the guys that's actually been able to get a script through that in itself gives me hope, because I mean, nobody can get a script through Lucasfilm these days. But
yeah,
that's another story in itself.
He was the executive producer and director of Stranger Things and appeared as a cameo in season 1.
Oh, okay. I still haven't gotten into Stranger Things yet, so go ahead,
Oh,
go ahead,
dude.
go ahead. You can join the crowd of people that say, "What the hell is wrong with you for not watching that yet?"
No, I'm not going to say a thing. Let's just move on.
Fair enough.
You've already heard enough.
All right, that's fair. That being said, do we want to move on to the next story, or
Yeah.
Sure.
who wants to
Grab
take
this.
this?
You want that one?
Sigourney Weaver was delighted to join the Star Wars franchise, but says Grogu was the whole reason she signed on for the Mandalorian and Grogu. He's a little badass. In quotes. She said that. uh, Sigourney Weaver says little Grogu is the whole reason why she joined the Star Wars franchise. Glad she is not saying baby Yoda. Anyways, Sigourney Weaver says she never really thought about joining the Star Wars franchise, but when she was offered a role in the upcoming movie, The Mandalorian Grogu, there was one teeny tiny thing that made her sign on. Grogu. I get to have scenes with little Grogu, which is probably why I did the movie. Weaver tells Games Raider Plus. And he's a little badass too. It's going to be wonderful for people to see what Grogu is up to now because he's grown up a little bit and is capable of much more than maybe we think just watching the series. As Weaver did not appear in the Mandalorian series, we still don't know for sure who her character is, although it's been reported that Weaver is playing a New Republic Colonel Bishop in the film. When asked for more on her mysterious role, Weaver replies, I play a wonderful character who is, in a position of authority, and I have to send the Mandalorian out on a mission on the Outer Rim where all the bad stuff happens. With so much experience working in big sci-fi franchises like Alien and Avatar, it is surprising that Weaver didn't join the galaxy far, far away sooner. I admire Star Wars, but don't sit around wishing I was in another franchise because I've been so lucky to be in some wonderful ones. Weaver adds, but at the time when I was offered it, I was delighted. I'm a great fan of Jon Favreau. I was already a great fan of The Mandalorian. Directed and written by Jon Favreau, the movie welcomes back Pedro Pascal as the bounty hunter Din Djarin, who embarks on an exciting new adventure with his apprentice Grogu. Mandalorian Grogu hits theaters May 2026. But before Weaver makes her big Star Wars debut, the Ghostbusters actor stars in Scott Derrickson's genre-bending horror slash romance movie, The Gorge. The movie follows two lightly trained operatives as they are appointed to guard opposite watchtowers overlooking a misty and mysterious gorge, protecting the world from an undisclosed mysterious evil that lurks within. Reads the synopsis from Apple TV Plus. Then there's more stuff about the gorge. That's it for the article,
Star
though.
Wars.
Of course, there's a plug at the end, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
go check it out if you guys are interested.
I'll throw in quick. Just happy to hear that she's enjoying being in Star Wars. I'm happy to hear that we're actually hearing something about her. I mean, we didn't know anything at all before this. So that's all I got.
Yeah, I don't know. There's not much to say about it. I mean, it is surprising that somebody with her credentials in the sci-fi universe, it's surprising she hasn't been in Star Wars sooner, like you said, but I guess scheduling has probably been a thing. I mean, she's not something like she doesn't stop working too, right? So she's probably always doing something.
Yeah, also they can usually only afford so many big names.
Yeah, she's what they call an A-lister, I think. So
yeah, it's not always easy to get who you want. So
yeah,
that's
true. Yeah, but no, it's good. I mean, we kind of know a tiny bit more. I think we already kind of knew. Did we know that she was some sort of authority figure already, or no?
No,
Was that
we
the first time
never,
we're
we never
finding
even
out?
knew that much.
From like between the time that we did our last podcast is we found out. I think there was another article that mentioned it, but it was more like a rumor one.
Okay.
This name Colonel Bishop, and I kind of chuckled because it's like a title and like a double title name. It's like
Yeah.
Captain Cardinal or something, you know.
Yeah.
Captain Cardinal.
Sergeant
Yeah.
Lieutenant. Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see her in for sure. Like those.
I know we're going to get a lot about the Mandalorian Grogu here at Celebration, and I'm starting to talk more about it because obviously we're only a month away from Celebration now.
Yeah.
I'm actually starting to get a little hyped for it. Now we're starting to see things. We know Andor's coming soon, which we'll be talking about in a few minutes as well. And it's just like knowing that we're going to start getting some information. Things are starting to some balls are actually starting to get rolling here. And it doesn't just feel like, what are we going to talk about the Celebration this year? It's like there's actually some excitement. There's a couple TV shows, movies. All right, let's go.
Well, yeah, there's potentially, and I think like 99% that your three main big stage panels that you're gonna have, obviously you're gonna have your Andor panel, right? Which the show drops like 2 days later after Star Wars Celebration. The Mandalorian Grogu stage, they're gonna introduce everybody involved with it. And I would imagine,
and I would hope that Sigourney Weaver would be there for that.
Well, absolutely. I feel like she's going to be there. I don't see her not being there.
Yeah.
And I think the third one is going to be the next topic that we're going to talk about is the 20th anniversary of the Revenge of the Sith stuff, where they're going to bring back they're going to bring it back in Hayden and Ewan, and they're going to have a nice little panel of
Ian McKellen should be there.
Obviously, Ian's going to be there, and all the ones that could make it, right? So I think those are going to be your three big pull-ins, I think, for the weekend.
I'd imagine to some degree, though, there'll be it's called Ahsoka Season 2 stuff as well, because we anticipate that coming up later this year as well.
I would say there might be a small pan, I don't see, because he's still writing it, right? So I don't see there being a lot, but
I think there could be a tie-in to it just because of the 20th anniversary Revenge of the Sith stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
Possible, yeah.
That's
I mean, because there's also rumors that there's also been rumors about Natalie Portman coming back for some flashback stuff in Ahsoka Season 2, and if she comes back for Revenge of the Sith stuff, it's going to be hard to not talk about it a little bit.
Yeah.
So
that would be pretty exciting. Her and Hayden and Ewan McGregor all getting together for flashback stuff. That's very exciting.
That'd be sick. That'd be so cool.
It's gonna be a lot of fun, yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's just nice to see that there's gonna be some stuff to talk about this year. We'll get to potentially talk about the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise again, and as we go, because it's not a show if Ian McKellen doesn't get into doing some of his voices. But it's I'm just excited for it all.
It's gonna be a good one. There hasn't been. I don't feel like there's been a good one. Well, I mean, the last one. When was the last one was done? When they were introducing the first season of Andor, was it? Or was that the one before that?
The last one was the one where they were announcing Acolyte, actually.
Okay.
That's when that whole cast came out.
This last one, then. Yeah, because they went 1 year after the other, and then they skipped. The next one would have been 2 years. So we're on the 2 year one. But before, where COVID happened, they did one after another, right after COVID was done or whatever. And then the first one before that. So I don't feel like this is going to be the first good one since that first one that they did after COVID.
Well, the best part of the last one was the fact that you finally had Hayden come back. I think Hayden finally got his love at the last one.
Yes, there was some parts of it, obviously, of the last one, because I mean, I think they introduced Ahsoka season as well, right? That was
I believe
because
so.
that's when Ray was there, and whoever else, right? Like they came out on stage and stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but other than that, I'm excited. Like it's gonna be good, and I really hope that we can watch it on YouTube. Like I know I can't remember the last one. I don't feel it was as good because they weren't showing everything that we're used to, or they were not showing us some of the stages. Like,
Well, we got to see the important stuff still. I mean,
yeah.
So at least that helped. I mean, well, we didn't get to see all the stuff that we like to have seen.
Wanted to see, yeah. But I guess they're not going to show the exclusive stuff, like the people that go there and pay for it. They're really like really tight on security and not have film stuff while you're in there, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah. But I'm gonna
exclusive.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna take this opportunity. I'm going to take this and segue it into our next story. Don't know if you want to take this one up, Andy. If you want me to take it.
Yeah. I'll take it. Well, it's the Revenge of the Sith one, right?
Correct.
Yeah, okay. I will gladly do this one.
Fair enough.
All right, this is from so Star Wars Newsnet.com. The article came out February 25th, 2025. Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith receives theatrical re-release for 20th anniversary. So 20 years since this movie came out, 2005 when it came out. It's crazy. Crazy to think that. April is shaping up to be a packed month for Star Wars fans in season 2 and celebration. Fans can also book tickets to see Revenge of the Sith return to the big screen for 1 week beginning April 25th. The screenings will be available in select U.S. theaters, which sucks. Doesn't seem like they're going to be popping up in Canada, but as well as international territories. Oh, would international be us for Canada then? Maybe.
Possibly. I know with the Phantom Menace this past year, I was looking for that because I was around my brother's birthday as well. Me and him have a tradition of going to Star Wars movies for his birthdays. That's usually around when they release in May. And I got all excited. I thought I was buying tickets and stuff, and then I realized, oh, this is Vancouver. So it was only in Vancouver that I had seen.
Okay.
So
it might be the same again then.
Yeah, hopefully not.
Hopefully not.
They do have a bit more around, but it seems like if that's what they did last time, it might be like that. I don't know.
I mean, in my city, they actually just built a brand new IMAX.
Oh yeah.
So that would be cool to see Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, absolutely.
But anyways, so similar to last year's re-release of Phantom Menace for the 25th anniversary, Revenge of the Sith is returning to theaters in celebration of the film's 20th anniversary. Artist Matt Ferguson has also returned for promotion with the creation of an incredible new trailer for the movie, which is you guys can see on the channel right now.
And
the original poster.
Sorry, I don't want to cut you off.
Oh no, that's fine.
You're kind of peeking out again. I mean, I'm sorry.
I don't know. I don't understand how it does that. I'm not even doing anything like. I'll turn myself down, I guess.
Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. I just want to make sure people catch you.
Yeah, I know. It's audio stuff. It's irritating. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, hopefully.
Yes.
So okay, where was I cutting off then?
I'd say right about the beginning
wasn't
of that
really cutting
paragraph.
off. It was just like little bits
Like,
throughout.
like at certain points you would peak and we would like miss like a word or two.
All right. Okay, so as you guys can see on our channel right now, Matt Ferguson, the artist of the original poster for Revenge of the Sith, has returned for the promotion with the creation of an incredible new poster for like the original poster. This version also features Vader's helmet as a focus point, but shifts the whole tone of the piece to be much more Sith overall, which is it's really cool. It's
a beautiful poster.
It is. It's great. Like
it's like I really want to get a copy of that. I want to get a copy of that poster.
I kind of do too, but yeah, I don't. I'm running out of room on my walls to put things up. So,
like, the outside of the house, Andy, the full wall.
Well, I'm thinking about putting it in my bedroom over top of our bed. No,
yes.
My wife would really love that.
Yes, absolutely.
Waking up to a Vader helmet behind you.
Yeah, I feel like that's the best relationship builder piece right there of all time.
Yeah. If you guys can help, if you guys can back me up on that when I give that to her, that'd be great. So regarding the design, Ferguson commented, the space battle and Mustafar elements are all really complicated, which with way more ships and explosions than on my other Star Wars posters. And then originally released May 19th, 2005. But
on the poster how it has like from corner to corner, so like at the top it's like really congested with all the ship explosions like he was talking about, and then you get a like Coruscant skyline, or no, is that Coruscant? I don't know.
Coruscant, yeah, it would be.
And then and
that's where the battle part,
and then the Mustafar, and just looks so good.
Well, like you said, like the top of it, that's that opening scene in the first of the movie. Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
Like you're pretty much looking at it, you're going, and that's the first thing you see in the movie. Like it's crazy. It's really, it's a really good poster. Really cool.
I just love how in the middle of it all, after everything, you still see Obi-Wan and Anakin dueling it out.
Oh, of course, because that's a classic. That's on the one here, right?
I just love that
part of it on the actual original poster.
Yeah, and I love how they were able to just fit it in and just seamlessly make it look good. And if I'm right, isn't that supposed to be Palpatine behind Anakin there?
Where?
Oh no, that's Vader's mask. But even then,
that's Vader's.
Yeah. I'm sorry, it's because if you look at the way it's designed, it almost looks like a set of hands.
The shape of the hood.
But still, it's just stunning.
Yeah.
I would love to watch, like, if they had some sort of behind the scenes of him creating this poster. That'd be sick. Just watch him design it.
That'd be awesome.
Like, that'd be super cool. Because, I mean, these are all hand done. Like, all the posters that he did. Because he did, I'm pretty sure he did because they're all the same style, right? I'm pretty sure.
Most part, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're all hand done. You definitely can tell. It's crazy.
I mean, this one actually has a special place in my heart on top of that. I guess he did the one for Return of the Jedi a couple of years ago as well. I'm looking here. Okay. But special place just because most of my big memories when it comes to Star Wars is based in going to see the original trilogy, but Episode 3 was the first time I ever went and actually saw a midnight showing of a Star Wars movie when it was released, and it would just be awesome to be able to go see it in the theater like that again. And like you said, I have an IMAX theater. It's like 15 minutes away from my house, so
yeah.
I haven't seen it in that yet. So,
well, I mean, that would be great, right? But I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening in my city. Like, there's less than 100,000 people in my city, so I'm not You know, in a bigger city, they might.
I mean, it's a town over from where I live, and it's a small town, but they put the IMAX there. But it's close enough to two cities that don't have IMAX, and I think that's the beauty of it for us. So, but they actually had the Phantom Menace when it came out a couple years ago. And,
did they? Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
So
in my city, we had the first IMAX in Canada. No, just yeah, we did. It was cool.
I just say
Professor
yeah, all right.
No, it was cool though. We had it like a long time ago, but yeah, it is something that's awesome. Have you guys been to IMAX stuff?
No.
No.
I have not. No.
Yeah, I've seen Interstellar. Oh, so good on IMAX.
That would be good. Yeah.
It was awesome.
I've watched a couple of the Avengers movies in IMAX, but I've never seen Star Wars in IMAX. So.
Oh my gosh, Star Wars would be so great.
Before that, all I had seen was like a nature one where they go on Everest. It's called Everest, and it just has like really stunning views and stuff like that. So that was cool. But Interstellar was like really, really cool.
I mean,
I could see Star Wars being great.
I'll say I'm looking at some of the stuff that this Matt Ferguson did, and he's made some great movie posters. I mean, obviously he's done this one here. He did the one for episode 1. He did the poster for Alien Romulus.
Really?
I guess he made the newest poster that they remade for Star Trek: The Wrath of Khan. He did the Return of the Jedi one. He made the Indiana Jones for the Dial of Destiny. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. He did the last Blade Runner. He's made some really good posters.
Mad Max Fury Road. I don't know if you said that one already.
Yeah, I didn't get to that one, but he also made the one for Dune as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, this guy's definitely out of town. That's for sure. Definitely love to see him.
I want all these posters now.
Yeah, it's like I'm at a point where I kind of want to see what Star Wars posters
like,
gonna make next.
Movies don't use him for their posters.
Yeah, I know, right?
So much. Crazy. Wow.
Yeah. I'm just looking at. Oh wow.
He's good at what he does. Like Transformers, like all the things.
Yeah, there's a lot of great stuff. I mean, so like I said, as we start seeing new Star Wars stuff come out, I'm hoping that they'll put him on some of these posters because I think these things will just come out great.
Yeah. The creator.
But not to keep this going for too long, I'm gonna move us on to the next story.
Okay.
This actually came out a couple weeks ago from Variety. It's a quick note as we segue into some talk about the new Andor season. But they had released a couple weeks ago. They released, what did they call it? The top 100 performances of the last 25 years, so of the 21st century. And the reason I brought it up was because going into Andor, I think one of the roles that we were most excited about after the show was over was Stellan Skarsgård playing Luthen Rail. And he did an amazing job with the character. He was amazing. That monologue he gave at the end was one of the best monologues I think I've ever heard. And just showed me that Tony Gilroy really, for a man who doesn't like Star Wars, really knows Star Wars. But Stellan Skarsgård was given the 85th best role of the last century as being Luthen Rail. And I'm going to just read through it quick. It says, on this exhilaratingly intelligent and eerily well-timed Star Wars series about building a revolution against fascism. Skarsgård plays a man fueled by his rage against the Galactic Empire, who cannot ever let himself fully express it. Instead, Skarsgård betrays Luthen's feelings in finely calibrated micro-expressions as he manages the fragile factions of the nascent rebellion and recruits disillusioned thief Cassian Andor, played by Diego Luna, to join it. It's only when one of Luthen's moles in the Empire demands to know what he has possibly sacrificed that Skarsgård finally takes the lid off. I'm condemned to use the tools of my enemy to defeat them, he says, his eyes burning with pain and regret and anger. I burn my decency for someone else's future. I burn my life to make a sunrise that I know I'll never see. It's monologue for the ages, proving that the Force is clearly with Skarsgård. Yes, I agree with you 100%. You are right.
Yeah.
I have to say, I just want to basically congratulate him for being so good at the role, because it was just amazing. Personally, do I think he should be higher than number 85 on the list? Of course I do. I'm biased.
Probably, yeah.
Do I think he's number one? No, probably not, because I mean, I think up near number one was like the guy who played Walter White in Breaking Bad.
Oh, yeah.
That probably is one of the greatest roles of the last 25 years, but
Yeah,
But do
I
I-
guarantee somewhere within the top 30, there's some people that don't deserve to be there.
I don't even go as far as the top
More
50,
than
Our
but yeah.
respective, yeah, all of our respective opinions.
But like I said, I'm very biased on this one, so he should definitely be higher on the list. So, but I don't know if you guys want to throw anything in on that, or
I mean,
No,
it's
yeah, I
a
think he's
it's a great role.
actor.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good.
I mean,
Hold on here.
it makes me want to. All I can say after that is it makes me want to watch more Andor, and looking forward to seeing the next season, which I'll take to segue into our next big topic, which is, well, the past couple of weeks we got an Andor trailer finally. It was, well, in my opinion, it was a very good trailer. So, I mean, I don't know if I expected to see I didn't expect it to see as much as we saw.
Yeah,
Right, yeah.
I feel like it gave a lot of, not like big chunks of meat, but a lot of small pieces of meat that are like really meaty. You know?
Yeah, there it is.
Like small bits, but
Small
they had
pieces of
like
meat that are
weight
really
to
meaty.
them, you know, where it's like, oh, I know what that means. I know what that means. Oh, wow, cool.
I mean,
Not
I
a
think,
lot of fat, a
Yeah.
lot of meat.
Yeah,
I mean,
no
when
filler.
if I was going to tell you what I was going to expect out of a Andor season 2 teaser trailer, I would have said, yeah, we'll probably see Luthen Rail, we'll probably see a quick shot of Mon Mothma. If we get lucky, we might catch a quick glimpse of K2SO, and that's about it. And maybe they'll still
did.
which we did get, yes. I wasn't expecting to see
Krennic?
Krennic at all. Wasn't expecting to see shots of the Death Star.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Which, don't get me wrong, I welcome it all, but I would have figured that would have waited until the next trailer. If I would assume we're getting at least one more trailer beforehand, because they're
I
going to
would
drop.
assume there's a final trailer, yeah.
Yeah, which we're going to get at Celebration right before this thing releases.
Yep.
So, that being said, yeah, I was very happy with it. It was a weird way to cut the trailer, though, in my opinion.
Like, in what way? Like, what do you mean?
Like, to me,
A
it just
weird way to cut it.
it was just kind of weird. Like, the way he would be walking, they cut to like him walking here, there, over there.
Yeah.
The last thing I wasn't expecting was to see any action of him in. I mean, they showed a picture of him, of a TIE fighter, of a TIE fighter, the TIE Advanced.
Yeah.
And I wasn't expecting to see them bring any of that into it, but they also brought that too. Because that's one of the stories I'm really going to be interested in. Because that was always one of the fighters I wanted to see in the Star Wars universe. And now we're kind of getting it. That along with the TIE Defender, which obviously was now hinted at as Thrawn's project, which, again, something, just stuff from my childhood almost, so to speak, because one of my favorite games growing up was Star Wars TIE Fighter. And these were all the fighters that were in that game and things you got to use and you got to fly around and fight the rebellion, and it was just a lot of fun, and just never expected to see these things actually tangible in the Star Wars universe. So it's just really exciting to see it. I know I'm rambling, but
so here's a like a question for you guys. So with Thrawn, like I know you mentioned Thrawn with his project being the TIE Defender stuff. Do you feel, because I mean he is kind of in this, I don't feel like we'll see him at all, obviously. But do you think there's a chance that his name could pop up in the talking of, because the TIE Defender's there and all that stuff?
It's potential. It's a potential
and
thing.
And also, what planet do you feel that, you know, when he's coming down there and he blows up that thing in that sort of wheat field, it looks like, do you guys feel like that's a planet that we know, or that they're going to introduce this planet? Because I mean, there's a lot of talk going around that planet we'll see live action Lothal.
Okay, so to answer the first part of that question, I do think it's possible. Will we actually see Thrawn? Probably not.
No, I don't think so. I don't think we'll see him, no.
Worst case scenario, it's a 10-second cameo and it's a hologram.
Yeah.
It's like a hologram.
Or him talking. Like you don't see him, but you hear him talking.
Yeah.
Like
that, it's not going to go any farther. You're not actually going to see him standing there in a room.
No, I don't think so. Yeah.
And the only reason I say that the potential is there is because even in Rebels, when he was talking about the TIE Defender project and not getting enough money from Tarkin, which, by the way, potentially someone else we could hear in the background.
It's Tarkin, yeah.
Yes, because he's involved in all of this.
Absolutely.
But I will say, in Rebels, Krennic was mentioned for these reasons, because money was going his way instead of Thrawn's. So there might be a quick talk about. You might hear Krennic at least mention Thrawn's name. That bastard's trying to get my money for my project or something.
Well, they all hated each other, right? Like they all. I'm pretty sure Tarkin hated Krennic, and likewise, and they didn't have a big liking for Thrawn because he was pushed up the ranks so quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, potential that he could be involved. As far as Lothal, no. I don't think Lothal's involved in this project at all. Only because, like I said, that was where the TIE Defender was. I don't think Thrawn had anything to do with the TIE Advanced project. I think we're going to hear about somebody entirely different when it comes to that project. And there's names I would like to hear, but I don't think I'm going to hear them. Because if you go back to that game at that time, the person that was behind, I believe the person behind the TIE Advanced was a man named Admiral Harkoff. And he actually became a Grand Admiral along the way. And he actually ended up turning his back on the Empire, and he ended up being hunted down by Thrawn.
Okay.
And this was, but at that time, Thrawn was also only a Vice Admiral. He wasn't a Grand Admiral at that point. It was one of the moves that actually moved Thrawn up the move Thrawn up the ladder. But this is all Legends talk. So,
Yeah.
Another name possibly on that list would be an Admiral Zarin, who also took up the mantle of trying to turn on the Empire. He kind of took up that mantle after Harkoff was defeated. It's I don't think we'll hear of either one of them. If we do, you're going to hear me probably go full fanboy. But I don't see that happening. The other person I think there's a potential of seeing, at least in that whole hollow transmission form, or might hear a voice in the background, is Vader.
Yeah.
Possibly, yeah, possibly.
Um,
I mean, there's a potential for a few of the characters obviously to pop up. Like it's not out of the
well, I personally don't think
question for sure.
Yeah, I don't think it'll push farther than that. Though. Like, I don't think we're going to see Palpatine.
Oh no,
anything like
no,
that.
because you can't because once they start coming into the picture, then it becomes more focused on them, right? You don't want to do that.
Yeah.
That's why I don't think it could be any more than like a quick a transmission, a voice in the background, like you said, something like that. You don't want them to become the focus.
It's just a cool little Easter egg, like a nice little here, have some of this for 2 seconds, and everybody goes, "Oh my gosh, okay, let's move on."
Exactly. So
yeah,
I think it needs to be left at that. But
right,
yeah, I wonder if they have any sort of interest in sort of integrating Moff Gideon into any of this type of stuff. Like
that's another person that could come in. Actually, at the end of the day, that would be an interesting take if Gideon was behind the Advanced project.
Right.
Yeah,
maybe he's not.
Cool.
He hasn't exactly raised up to Moff yet, but yet maybe he's somebody that's on the radar at that point.
Yeah, maybe he's like a upper officer of some sort.
Yeah, I mean, it would be interesting to see something like that where, excuse me, where he could come along for something like that, or maybe they see.
Yeah, really, we don't know a lot about him and his role in the Empire, unless I'm wrong, and there is in Legends some stuff about him.
We've never. He was a totally new character when the Mandalorian came around.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so basically all we really know is that he was involved or in charge of the Siege of Mandalore, and afterwards the Imperial Remnant action.
Which I think would even be more interesting if you come to find out that this fighter was something that was being designed to help them in the Mandalorian War or something.
Yeah.
Which that would again, you're talking about something that would be exciting to see them. How do I put it best? It's not because
explore that part of the story that we haven't heard yet, or something like that kind of thing.
Right, but at the same time, it's like, how do they say it? If you don't want to make the world too small, but at the same time, you do want details on what brought things about.
Yeah.
So you I think that's the best way I could put it.
Yeah.
But I also know I've been talking a lot on this. I haven't really given you guys a chance to really throw your opinions in on this either. So.
Yeah. I don't know. For me, it was just really exciting. Actually, something that was kind of in one of the subsequent interviews that I've seen about, because it's not just this trailer. They're having all kinds of random small bits of content about Andor on their Instagram and Facebook and all those kind of socials and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
One of my predictions was squashed, guys. What's his name? Diego Luna was talking about whether K2 or D2. I think that's what the small droid's name is. Anyways, which one he would prefer in real life, and basically the way he was talking about it is as if they're two separate droids, and my prediction was that D2 was going to somehow become K2, but Yeah, I guess they're two separate droids.
It's B2 emo.
B2, that's what it was.
Yeah, B2 emo.
So my prediction got squashed.
Oh.
So one of the things that they did mention along with the trailer was this is all going the interesting thing about it is this is all going to be condensed down into 4 weeks. We're getting 3 episodes a week every week until this is over, which I'm excited. Basically, we're basically getting a Star Wars movie every week for 4 weeks while right after Celebration. So I can't wait. But at the same time, I'm looking at like, wow, this is probably the most aggressive approach Star Wars has taken to releasing one of their series. Also,
we're gonna have our work cut out for us on the podcast here for those weeks.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, right.
Don't get me wrong, I'm excited for it. I'm very excited for it because this is gonna be a great show. But I think the last thing I want to say is, I think we'll end up having at least 1 or 2 more podcasts before we get to Celebration in Andor. But I don't know. Let's go preliminary. Anything you guys want to see, expect to see?
From what? From now till Celebration, or
no? From season 2 of Andor.
Oh, Andor.
Sorry, I should have finished that sentence.
I don't know. I mean, like in the trailer, like it shows all the characters that I was hoping to see for sure. Like I'm excited to see Krennic again. Like I loved the character in Rogue One. Like I thought it was a great character. I mean, everybody's excited to see K2. He's gonna add a little bit of humor to the show. Like I would say,
yeah.
You know, we saw Saw's back. He's looking more and more like the Saw we kind of saw in Rogue One.
That's crazy as ever.
That's crazy as ever, yeah. But I mean, I'm excited to hear some, because that line that he says at the end of the trailer, and I'm just like, oh, I'm excited to see what they're going to write for him in the show, for him to say, and get Forrest Whitaker to say it, and of course, we're all seeing what Stellan is going to do with because obviously I feel like Luthen Rael is going to be done after this series. Like I don't think he's going to live past this series here.
I can't see it either.
But I'm excited to see what other kind of performance he's gonna play out. Like what other kind of script or things he's gonna say. Like I'm kind of I can't remember the character's name there. The guy that kind of was like in charge of the place, and then he kind of had a table, like a desk job at the end of the thing.
Oh, the cereal guy.
What's his name?
I don't know his name. I don't remember his name.
Cyril? Cyril or something like that, or
no, the guy who was eating cereal with his mother.
Yeah. But I think his name is I thought his name is like Cyril or something like that. Cyril.
Let me see.
Anyways,
while you're talking, I will pull it up.
Okay, but I mean, like, I'm interested to see, because, like, yeah, I mean, I'm just interested to see.
Is it Bix? Oh, that's
no, Bix is the girl.
Yeah. I think its name is Cyril. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's just seeing how it progresses. Honestly, like, I'm curious to see how the skipping of the year is going to be, like, how, because they're doing a different year each time. So I'm just interested to see how the characters are going to progress. Like, are we going to see Saw possibly in the first part, and then see him in the last part, and then he just looks totally different. You know what I mean? Or, I mean, obviously you're going to see the progression of the characters as they go year by year. So it'll be interesting to see. Obviously Mon Mothma, that character's got to come out of, her political, the political stage that she's in, and joins, as the leader of the rebellion at some point.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely see that progression somewheres.
I wonder
just to
if
throw
during
it.
that. Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say throw it in. His name is Cyril Karn, which I find especially funny now that I called him Cereal Boy.
Now that you said cereal, yeah. Eating cereal, yeah.
Sure, Cyril.
Cereal having cereal, yeah.
What were you saying, Tom?
I was gonna say, I hope we see that ship again. No, that's not what I was gonna say. Sorry, I was saving that for later. But when in Rebels, when Mon Mothma is sort of seeking asylum with the rebel camps and stuff, the Phoenix Squadron is involved with that. So I wonder if maybe we could see, maybe not a full-on Phoenix thing, but maybe hear Hera's voice or something like that.
Well, this is all potential too. Like that kind of lands in the same.
Ahsoka was with the rebels at that time as Fulcrum.
It'd be interesting to hear a name or two, but again, I don't want to see the character, to be honest. Like any characters or anything like that. Like it'd be cool to hear, Fulcrum or, what I mean? Because at that point, I'm pretty sure. Right?
Yeah. I'm just saying, if they have the story of her, where she's seeking asylum, getting away from her political sort of stage that she's on, in the Rebels, that was the Phoenix Squadron that did that. So,
yeah. I think the one thing that would be really interesting for me if they did it that way, we don't necessarily have to see any of Phoenix Squadron, but we could see her trying to get away. I wouldn't be surprised if we actually get to see the Ghost land. Maybe that ramp
you
drops.
You can see the ship, yeah.
And maybe Chopper's up at the top or something.
Yeah.
I mean, because
Andor 2 and Ghost, how they're docked together and stuff.
Yeah. The only reason I mentioned Chopper is because I don't really think you can bring anybody else in, just considering the fact that you've kind of aged people at this point. You'd have to find a younger Sabine if she was there. You'd have to find a younger Ezra. You'd have to find. You might be able to get away with Hera, but do you really want to bring her on for this? And we all know Freddie Prinze isn't coming back to be.
Yeah.
Kanan,
Star Wars loser. That's what he called us.
But I mean,
that's those for kids.
But you could have a droid at the top, and I could see it, and you could see her just walking up the ramp, and that's all we see, and it's over. And I think that would
be the cheaper route, right? I think too.
But it would also be an interesting way to tie it into Rebels, because she was on that ship also when she made her announcement of the Rebel Alliance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So
that's what I mean. They're kind of a crucial part of that chapter of her life. So it'd be almost hard to not at least make a nod to the Phoenix Squadron or to Rebels in some way.
But the one thing that I was thinking that I would like to see that would be really exciting to bring in, and it would fit and it would make sense, and you've already done it, so it wouldn't really hurt to do it again. Bring back Jimmy Smits and have a moment with Bail Organa.
Yeah,
that's fair. Yeah.
Or maybe that's the moment where right before that she goes to Bail and she's like, I need out of here. I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
And it
definitely does seem like the move.
And he calls the Phoenix Squad to come and get her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that could work.
actually, I think also too, it might have been Fulcrum that put Phoenix Squadron onto it, so it could be a thing where Balin, tells Ahsoka about this, and then Ahsoka, gets the Phoenix Squadron. There's possibilities there.
That even makes me question because I'm not even sure if was Ahsoka still Fulcrum at that point, or was it um
Yeah, it's hard to say.
the
I
the
guess
agent Agent Callus at that
Agent
point?
Callus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
could be. Yeah, I'm not sure how it would work with the like where on the Rebels timeline each of those things happens.
But I mean, either way, I mean, it's not, I would just love to see a little bit of the tie-in just to see where it goes.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much the big thing I would want to see. Outside of that, I'm ready to just go along for the ride.
Yep.
But I was also excited to see uh what's his name? What's his name?
Diego
Kino
Luna?
Lloyd. Kino Lloyd.
Or- oh,
Uh, the guy who played Gollum.
Yeah. Andy Serkis.
Andy Serkis. That's it. Thank you. God, why can't I could think of that name? I don't know, but I would.
Andy.
that's why you remember it so well.
You're Andy. That's the problem. You're Andy. I know you.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, I'm happy to see he's back in it, and I am looking forward to seeing him too. So, because I'm curious as to what it felt like his role was over in that show. So I'm really curious as to what they're going to do with him now.
It was funny though that like he was one character that you didn't see in the.
Say that one more time. You kind of cut out the end there.
It's funny like he's like one character that you didn't see in the trailer. I don't think.
Oh,
yeah, you did. He was in the trailer. He was in the trailer.
I'm gonna have to look back. So maybe they had everybody in that trailer. Like,
yeah, there's so much in it, so much meat chunks.
Yeah, there was a lot there. It's just
a lot of chunks.
Yeah.
That's why I was so surprised to have so much in that little trailer, because it's like, great, all the characters are back, but who are we not going to see? Who haven't we seen?
Yeah,
and like I said, we definitely didn't see a Bail Organa. Obviously, we're not going to see any of the Phoenix Squad because I don't think any of them are actually in the show. But again, exactly.
They could. One thing they could do, like how I was saying, like Ahsoka was like Fulcrum and stuff somewhere near that, whether it's like off by a bit or not. Is they do kind of have a young Ahsoka actress on the go too, right? With the Ahsoka show, so that's something that is accessible potentially.
I think
Maybe she might be.
I think she would have been too young. Yeah.
Because you're I think we're almost talking at that point. You're talking 15 years later.
That one's during the Clone Wars. Yeah.
You'd be closer to de-aging Rosario Dawson a little bit just to bring her on.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe.
The only other person I'm thinking that you might be able to see in this show that, and I don't need to see him either. That's the thing. But again, I think it would be a hollow transmission or something like that, or a voice. What's his name?
Agent Callus.
Mads Mikkelsen.
Oh yeah.
Galen Erso.
Galen Erso. God, I am.
Yeah,
it's getting late. It's clearly getting late because I'm starting to forget names.
I think he does appear in the trailer, doesn't he? Galen Erso. I could be wrong.
I don't think I saw him, but I mean, you could be right, but I don't believe I saw him in the trailer.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I definitely did hear rumors that he could be in it for sure.
But I don't want him to have like any kind of significant role. I mean, given
he is kind of the, the focus of Rogue One, so I could see it at least being mentioned. Full like.
Oh, absolutely being mentioned. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I don't want him to be there for like 3 episodes. I don't think
Yeah.
there's a point to it.
No. I'm gonna slow down this trailer and watch it. Watch it again.
See if there's a version out there that just breaks it into its separate pieces, spread out.
Yeah.
There might be.
No, I'm sure there's been a few people that have dissected this trailer, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sure.
there are people that had this trailer dissected 2 hours after it was over.
Yeah, for sure.
The real question was, how did you get it done so fast?
Yeah. Nothing else to do in life, I guess.
With extreme focus.
I mean, I'd love to say we had the time to do stuff like that, but I mean, we all have jobs and lives, and we fit it in where we can.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah, outside of that, I mean, yeah, I'm just here for the ride because I think it's gonna be, I think it's gonna be a great show. I know they were talking about, we were doing the interview with Kathleen Kennedy, and they were saying that she's trying to get Tony Gilroy to do a little bit more Star Wars, but end of the day, everything I've heard, he's not even a fan of Star Wars. He doesn't really care for Star Wars, which surprises me because he's done so well with it. I mean, usually when we talk about we want somebody to do a show for Star Wars, we want somebody who knows the lore, loves everything about the show. He is the anti-Star Wars guy, and he's making some of the best Star Wars we've watched.
Yeah,
Right.
I think for somebody like him, it's more of this like stigma that like sort of comic book movies or science fiction is like not taken as seriously as far as like achievements. You know what I mean? Like no, not gonna like win an Academy Award or like go down in history because of something you did with Star Wars. That's how they perceive it, anyways.
But that's such a shame.
Yeah,
It's a shame because what he put out in Andor, I mean, he should have gotten, those guys should have gotten some awards. I mean, it's a shame Stellan Skarsgård didn't get, I don't know what would be the Emmy for.
Yeah, Emmys for
TV. Go show you how much I follow that. But I mean, it's like, yeah, you just pick anything up yet?
I don't see Andy Serkis in this trailer.
I could have sworn I saw him in that trailer.
No. I don't see him. I have it slowed down to 50%.
Trying to figure out where I saw him then, because I could have sworn I saw him in that trailer. I mean, if I didn't, I didn't. But what was I watching then? Is the real question.
I don't know.
Oh,
Not sure.
I guess I'll figure it
And
out.
I don't see him.
I'll figure it out at some point then.
Unless he's the one that Saw Gerrera's yelling at the end. I doubt it.
Which I doubt too.
You're here and you're ready to fight.
It looks like there was a lot of Emmy nominations from Andor back.
Yeah, there was a few actually.
back
I'm pretty sure.
I don't think any of the
that year between Andor, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and The Mandalorian, there was a combined 23 Emmy nominations. I don't know what this source I'm on right here doesn't say what was one out of that, but yeah.
Oh, okay. So actually, Skarsgård was nominated for an Emmy for supporting actor in Andor. He didn't win it though. So my mistake. He was nominated. And again, I'm very biased, so he should have won. But that being said, I know it's getting late, and just gonna ask you guys anything else you guys want to talk about as far as this, or
You know what I just realized? I know this is kind of dragging this out a little bit, but the Book of Boba Fett won an Emmy. Isn't that
what?
crazy?
For
I don't
design,
know. It's just on the
costume
list
design.
here. I'm looking
I
at
think
it
it's
says
costume
only
design or
Star
something.
Wars shows have won Emmys: The Mandalorian, The Book of Boba Fett, and Star Wars Visions.
A lot of times, it's with that stuff. It's kind of I'm pretty sure it's like costume design or
Yeah, oh, I remember
like
there was a
sound
thing with
design
The
or something.
Mandalorian where the stunt, whatever it's called, stunt team won an Emmy.
I mean, that would make sense with Mandalorian.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah. Anyways, just interesting. Nerding out over here.
Interesting. Nerding out over
Emmys.
the Emmys. Are
I
you
never
watching the
watch any of
Oscars right
those.
now?
I never watch any of those shows, so when I hear about it 3 years later, I'm like, oh, that was cool that happened.
I mean, at the end of the day, nothing exciting ever really happens at those things, and
No, gosh, no.
on
Except
top
for
on top
Ricky
of
Gervais telling those people that they're not as important as they think they are. That's the best part usually.
yeah, and at the end of the day, how many memes were made of it? So that's where I get. That's pretty much where I get my Emmy and Oscar news. So,
Yeah.
and that being because we're never going to hear about Star Wars winning something like Best Picture or something like that.
Right.
I mean,
Exactly.
Nope.
so yeah, exactly.
They'd rather give it to things such as Barbie.
Whatever.
So much better.
Let's not go there.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on. So was
That's
like I
a
said,
whole can of worms you don't want to open.
is there anything else you guys want to talk about as far as Andor or Star Wars in general that we haven't
Oh, the
covered
ship.
tonight?
I want to see the ship again. I know I kind of partially said that, but I want to see that ship again. Maybe some other situation. Because last time we seen it kind of like in that stressful blockade, and then he's like, okay, that's it. I'm taking these guys out. Boom. Shreds their, their tractor beam, and then the, whatever, laser swords on the
Yeah,
ship.
that was fun to watch.
Shred the TIE fighter. So I'd like to maybe see that ship do some other cool stuff. That's something I would love to see. So.
Now that you bring that up, there is one thing I would like to know. Because I think it was a rumor that was floating around when the series came out originally. And again, Luthen Rail. A lot of people were wondering if he might have been a former Jedi. And that ship kind of helped nurture a little bit of that theory. So there's a small part of me that almost wants to know if possibly that if we ever find out there's might be some truth to that.
Yeah, and the way he because I've rewatched that movie scene a few times since that show has aired. It definitely shows him being like very in tune with his senses. Like the way he pilots that situation is like very, very skilled. So you never know. He could be.
But yeah, outside of that, I think that's about all I've got left.
Yeah, me too.
So do we want to call it? Do we want to call it there, guys? Or I said, was there anything else you guys want to bring up?
We're at like 3 hours, right? So
We're pretty close, yeah.
yeah.
Well, in that case, we'll get back to what it is, and I guess before anything else, I'm gonna just throw it out there one more time. Again, we were talking at the beginning of the show about the NCAA tournament pool for the Horizon. If you do get a chance, either check underneath here on if you're watching on Twitch or in the comments. If you're watching on YouTube, or check our social media, we'll have some posts, we'll have some notes there, and definitely join in. You'll be helping a good cause and having some fun along the way. If you want to definitely spend some time, maybe join Horizon during the NCAA tournament. There'll again another chance to help a good cause, definitely get involved there. Other than that, I think we're going to call it an evening. Guys, Swampgrass, where can we find you, bud?
So I'm usually streaming on Twitch, twitch.tv/swampgrass420, playing Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, Marvel Strike Force, and other mobile games. Kind of afternoons, weekdays is for the most part when I'm there. So yeah, that's where you can find me, guys, for the most part.
All right, great. And Andy, what about you, my friend?
It's twitch.tv/Andy_beads. And normally, Thursday night at what did I say, 6 p.m. Eastern time, and Saturday mornings, 7 a.m. Eastern time, and we're playing the mobile game Marvel Snap. So if you guys know, it's just a card game. Marvel characters, build your deck, battle against
Snap!
people. And we yell "snap" all the time. Snap!
Yeah.
just while we're at a random, like snap. just
for no reason at all.
Yeah. So if you guys want to see me do that on stream, come on over Thursday, and I'll perform it for you guys.
Oh yeah. All right, guys. I'm Darth Eldor. You can find me on Twitch also. I also stream Galaxy of Heroes, and I've been getting into Hearthstone a lot lately. I've been playing quite a bit. I've really started to enjoy the Battleground game, so I might be on doing some of that along the way as well. But yeah, that's where you can find me. And as always, we're always on our socials. As you can see there, it's at TSC_SW Podcast if you want to catch us on Twitter/X or Instagram, or at the Shadow Collective Podcast if you want to catch us on YouTube. Also catch us on Spotify. We do put the podcast up there as well. And if you get a chance, definitely either give us a follow, a subscription, a like,
Comment, share.
yeah, anything, because we want to know what you guys think. So we love to hear from you all. That being said, we're gonna call it another episode. Thank you all for watching. As always, we're glad to have you, and as always, the Force will be with you.